Hello. Hello. How you guys doing? Azure, congrats on first. We're not playing Mahjong Soul. I don't know why it says Mahjong Soul, but I hope you're doing well. And Spitfire as well. Hope you're doing well. Let's read some creepypastas. How are you guys doing? Hold on. Sorry, my headphones are tangled. Okay. I'm pretty excited. We got a chance to read some creepypastas, and during subathon, I think. What happened? Nothing happened. I'm sorry, my headphone wires just got tangled up. But we're chilling. Oh, should I move so we can see Calcifer? Not too bad, just working on stuff in the background. Okay, good. Because this is gonna become like a nice, I guess, like cozy time. So it'll be nice to work along with. Yeah, if you guys have any suggestions for creepypastas, feel free to drop it in the Discord. Otherwise, I'm just gonna go down, I guess, the list of what you guys suggested. Hi, Aspirin Force. Spitfire, thank you for the sub. The tier 2. It's been 14 months. Oh my god, 12-month streak. It's been a year. That's crazy. This sub shows my affection for subbing to random channels and nothing more. Oh, so you're being a tsundere today. I see, I see. Spooky verse. Hi, Acer, how you doing? I love creepypastas, so I thought this would be a good idea. I have not actually read creepypastas in a minute. So I was like, you know what? Let's do it on stream. Should I show you guys too? Do you guys want to read along with me? And before Umi scares herself, oh my god, when last time we talked about creepypastas, I told a story about a streamer, and that was actually really creepy, guys. A streamer that you grow in love, but then you find out doesn't really exactly exist, you know? Very scary stuff. Creepy stuff. I was gonna write one, but I forgot. You still have time? I'm just kidding. Well, hopefully I'll do this, more often. Just like I've been planning to do like some Am I the Asshole streams and stuff like that. Slay, but without TTS, I appreciate you. Oh, also, any of you guys, dude, I feel like there's so many things happening right now. Anyone who is in California with the fire, please stay safe. Anybody who is facing like blizzards and stuff, please stay safe. That is so scary. I feel like there's been a lot of things on the news, like a lot of weather-related, natural disaster-related stuff. Please stay safe, guys. Oh, man. A streamer who starts disrespecting her schedule and becoming more and more of a ghost. Ghosting? Someone ghosting you? That's real scary, indeed. Because Umi just lives in the screen. I know, I've told you guys many times that I'm only 2D. The cosplay pictures, I definitely hire someone for that. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Goddess Taylor White, hello! I need emotional support. My girlfriend left to see her family and now I miss her. Aww. You'll survive. I've been watching a lot of like shows recently where the main dude is like, I love my wife. My whole life is my wife. And I'm like, this is so cute. But also kind of sad. Like all of the shows that I've been watching, it's like his wife is dead and then he's like trying to get revenge mostly. And you hire her too, hook a brother up. Yeah, you wanna I'm sure you could find a cosplayer willing to do things. This is the best place. Umi leaves us all the time. Yo, what do you mean? Okay, I am leaving in like a week. I sincerely, I keep forgetting. I can't believe it's like in a week. I was talking to my therapist about it today because I was like, oh, I have to cancel some sessions because I was like, I am gonna be overseas, so I don't think I can legally, you know, still be doing therapy and stuff because of licensing stuff or whatever. Not licensing, like medical license stuff. I don't know. But I guess it'll be nice. I'll make sure to take pictures and show you guys. I think it's been a minute since I've been home, so I think it'll be good. I haven't been back or I haven't traveled in like 2 years, which is kind of crazy. I rely on her. She's my comfort human, my emotional support person. Oh, well, she'll be back. How long is she gonna be gone for? This is... Wait, also, should we... Wait, hold on. I'm gonna open all these first. Spitfire, how come yours is a screenshot? It should be fine. I will read it. Next Saturday, she'll be back before you know it. If you get too lonely, this is your calling, your sign to adopt a pet. They make a world of a difference, you know? You can recharge by... That's what I do. I like to put my face into my cat's stomach, even though he hates it. That's how I recharge, you know? Okay. Alright. Yeah. Because I am also girlfriendless. It's rough. It's rough out here. If I get too lonely, I sniff her clothes. That's cute. It's like when people steal people's, like, hoodies and sweaters and stuff. That's cute. Okay. Alright. Let us read this one. The Erdnase Network. Dear reader. Hold on. Also, let me know if the audio is okay. Oh my god, sorry guys. I hope there's not too much background noise. But yeah, let me know if the audio is okay. Dear reader, I hope this paper finds you well. Within it, you'll find a modest proposal that has revolutionized my practice of medicine. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna show you guys what I'm reading, so if you guys would like to read along or miss some stuff, you guys can see it, like, you know, like captions. Give me a sec. Have fun with spooky. Bye, sir. It was Acer. Too spooky for you. Okay, let me... Hi, masters. Oh, listen. How you doing? We were just about to start. Thank you for the follow. Hold on. I'm gonna throw it on the screen so you guys can kind of see and follow along just in case. I'm gonna turn down the calcifer. Okay. Nice fire. It's calcifer. Okay. Make it smaller. But then it blocks the fire. Okay. Okay. If you guys want to read it. I don't know if you guys can, but that's okay. Just throwing it on the screen. Okay. The Erdnase Network. Dear reader, I hope this paper finds you well. Within it, you will find a modest proposal that has revolutionized my practice of medicine. In this essay, I hope to convince you of its merits. I will assume that you are of the medical discipline yourself, else this will have fallen into the wrong hands, and that above all else cannot be allowed. This paper is for your eyes only, so hold it secure as you would tens of thousands of lives, for that is truly its value, should it be utilized correctly. My name is Dr. S.W. Ernest, and I will now explain to you how this essay came to be. Read it in full and consider it carefully before acting, I implore you. The story begins with a patient of mine. I will call her Michelle. For reasons we of our profession, of course, understand. Michelle was an especially lively patient, diagnosed with acute leukemia, yet afflicted even further with charisma so infectious no clean room could keep it out. She was in my care for only 5 months before I and the other staff of the hospital were completely taken with her. Hold on a minute. Okay. I mean this, of course, in a purely professional sense. Michelle was young, only 15. Far too young for cancer. Aren't they all? Michelle was a lacrosse player. She had represented her school at state. It was apparent that she was holding on to the idea of being able to return to a time like that. It wasn't impossible. Chemotherapy was progressing as per our treatment plan, an aggressive plan with high dosages and many hours in the chair. She was losing weight, and she hardly got any sleep, but it was working. I'm sure you've heard this story before. Cancer is common in our field. It is easy for some, and I considered myself part of this number, to remove yourself from the humanity of it. But I urge you not to do this here. It is important that you remember that the difference between yourself and Michelle is simply a matter of chance. It could, very possibly will, be you or your daughter at some point. This time, it was Michelle. Hi, Sango TV. Yeah. Hi, Kitty McWhiddles. And hi, Orison. Orison? Hope you guys are doing well. If I recall, wasn't this story you wrote? Oh! It was! Oh, you're right. The Ernest... I do remember this. Honestly, I feel like reading this the first time, it reminded me of... Because I've been rewatching Oshinoko recently. I feel like that was when my mind went to. Oh, so I remember how this ends. Okay. It is not... Wait, should I... I'll zoom in like this. Okay. It is not a particularly sad story, though, I must admit. The chemotherapy was progressing well, and side effects aside, Michelle could look forward to a possible return to school and eventually the field within a year's time or less. Those side effects were real and could not be ignored. Physical therapy could address much of Michelle's symptoms, along with a rigorous adherence to prescribed diet and medication. But she needed a bone marrow rescue transplant. Michelle's parents were willing, but of course neither was a perfect match, both lacking requisite HLA markers that would give a higher likelihood of success. Wait a sec, that means you read all our works? I try to keep up, but I couldn't. I read actually all the things that you guys wrote early on in the writing channel. I really liked your poems, Esper, and yeah, I tried to read as much as possible, but it's kind of hard to keep up. But I'm really happy. I was just talking about it the other day. I'm really happy with how the Discord now, there's a lot of people, and that, you know, to see you guys interacting with each other and like have a little bit of a community, it makes me really happy. Okay. We spent the tail end of those 5 months waiting, delaying for such a match to appear. Calls to action online, to register, to donate, to be Michelle's perfect match resonated with some. I hope they found someone to donate to, because they certainly did not find Michelle. Each day I saw her was like attaching another weight to my stomach. She always smiled. At this point, the family were resolved to go forward with the rescue process, using the mother as a donor. This is, as you know, perfectly reasonable. But with the HLA mismatch I mentioned earlier, the chances of success were less than desirable. and certainly less than had to be possible. Somewhere out in the world was Michelle's match, Michelle's perfect chance. This must seem silly to you, that this ate away at me, so I would instead ask you not to begrudge your less likable patients simply because they lack Michelle's social draw. I suspect this next point will further clarify my state of mind. There had been a match. We just couldn't reach them. Their name, we'll say, was Andy. Andy had registered to donate nearly 20 years prior, and his last known details placed him not far from us, only about 40 minutes' drive, at least to the approximate area. The phone number provided by the registry was functional, but it was a landline, and it seemed to have no answering machine attached. I called every day, in the morning and in the evening. I called during lunch. I sent them a letter. A week passed, and so did my patients. I drove to the address. It was a beaten-down house. Like many a patient I'd seen before, just like those patients, I could do nothing for it, but it could do something for me. I knocked on the door, pulling my coat in closer to me against the biting winter air. It was a small house, painted a sickly yellow, like it had all been left out in the sun too long. Hints of an overgrown garden poked up through the recent snow. All of it felt old and empty. But the door opened. I was greeted by a man in his early 30s, perhaps blond and tall. He, like many more, was dressed warmly. I got the impression that the house was poorly insulated, and no rush of warm air came to greet me, only a sad, shivering man. Andy? My name is Dr. Erdness. I motioned to shake his hand. He grimaced. I'm sorry, but my father isn't here. He's just passed away. These words, reader, hit me like a truck. I felt the weight that had been building in my stomach all these months begin to claw its way out through my throat, impeding my breath. I began to cough violently. The man concerned let me in. Right. His name was Sam. I found out that, indeed, my donor had lived there. He was an old man and hadn't changed any of his details that he had originally given the registry. But his phone had no answering machine, and his incoming mail was piled on the kitchen counter. Somewhere in it was a letter bearing my own name. But Andy would never read it. He had died just within the last day or two. Sam, as only surviving relative, had arranged a hasty funeral, and the body had been buried in the town cemetery just this morning. Sam remarked to me that all happened so quickly. I guess when people die every day, you get a whole process out of it. Make it efficient. Sam sniffed. I ascribed it more to the cold than an incoming flood of tears. Sad as it is, Doctor, I think it was just his time. I just don't think there was anything more for him to do on this earth. We all have to go eventually. His words, though trite to someone in our profession, cut directly to the anxiety that now saw fit to nestle firmly in my larynx. It raged. Would it be Michelle's time next? My anxiety turned to fear. I confided in Sam that I had been attempting to reach his father for the upcoming transplant. He seemed taken aback. I'm sorry. I'm sure you would have loved to help. A pause. Could I maybe donate? Her mother isn't a match. We could have a look, but there's no guarantee you'll be any better. I was going through the motions of the conversation. I had already subconsciously resigned myself to this idea. That Andy was our saving grace, and now he was gone. It was cold and getting late, so I had Sam direct me to a local bar that doubled as something of an inn or a hotel. I couldn't force myself to drive. Hours passed before I came to my senses. I was seated on a tidy, twin-sized bed in an upstairs room. Through the window, I could see out into the street below. At some point, without my recognizing it, night had taken hold of the town. All was still. The streets silent. lit sparsely by lampposts spaced too far apart. All at once I came to a conclusion. I will not deceive you. The idea came to me fully formed. It was not a matter of my body acting unconsciously or following steps to an unknown destination. It was just a thought I entertained from time to time, like the urge to hit a passerby on the street just to see what happens, or imagining that what you might do if an armed assailant was to enter the bank and only you could stop them. Just fantasies. Never an opportunity to act on them, or, as I saw it now, a requirement to. I found my way to the cemetery. The gate was closed, but not locked. I note for your knowledge that had the gate been locked, one would only need a single foothold to either side to scale most such gates, or to walk the perimeter fencing and to locate a better entry point. It was late and I was alone, but out in this secluded part of the country, and the moonlight cast light sufficient to guide my way. I found a shed left unattended and unlocked. This in itself is the most remarkable blessing in this story, but I know now that had I been blocked by the door, I would have broken a window or some other such drastic measure. I took a shovel, pointed for digging, as no other kind seemed necessary to keep at such a location, and went to hunting. It did not take so long to find. The man had only been buried that morning, as Sam had told me. It was only reasonable to assume that I would find him on the perimeter of established plots. What made it difficult was the reading of headstones in the soft light. I did carry my phone, and its flashlight made this easier. If awkward while lugging the shovel in tow, its weight more apparent now that I ran about with its tucked under arm like the most awkward of sprinters. But find it I did. The grave was marked not with a headstone, but with a wooden cross. I now know that a headstone is often arranged and fitted some time later, although I still do not know if Alan was simply to remain like that or not. I haven't returned. That night, he did not remain as is. This dude writes like a dweeb. I read this before. You don't think I don't recognize this? I feel I do not need to spell this out. It was exceptionally hard work. While it had only been turned over that morning, the night was still terribly cold, and the moving of dirt such to allow the opening of a coffin constitutes a massive amount of effort. Such was the nature of the casket that I could have broken it with a well-placed strike of the shovel, but I thought better of it. I was not prepared to damage a coffin. Perhaps you would think differently. I confess it would have saved hours of time. But I did succeed in the venture, and the man laid before me. The man I had been so desperate to see all these weeks. I was taken, enraptured by his appearance. Fresh. He had died only perhaps some 48 hours prior, or a short time more. I had of course worked with cadavers in medical school, who had looked no less alive, but there was always some sort of impression of a barrier between medicine and death that a grave or a crematorium represented. That barrier was just imagination. No, but that's a good point, because I feel like, like, that's why people don't bat an eye at things that are produced and, like, food especially. Like, people don't think about processed meats at all, but then if you have to kill the animal yourself, like, it's a time and place difference, there is a difference. I had brought the tools for donation with me. Another flight of fantasy, now useful. Perhaps Alan had been ignoring my calls, my letter. He was a grouchy old man, no longer the person who had registered. I would have to convince him, and the less I had to ask of him, the better. More realistically, I could have shown him tools, explained how simple and painless the procedure was. Whatever my reasoning, I had all that I needed. I saved the anesthetic on this occasion. It's common practice, as you likely know, to extract marrow from the pelvis, but the man was, of course, lying on his back. Spent as I was, able to get this far on adrenaline and sheer willpower alone, I convinced myself to take it from his leg instead. The man had no injuries or ailments affecting the area, and even if he had, I'd simply have selected the other leg, or grace be damned, flipped the man over. I will summarize. The deed done, I shoved bodily, literally with my chest and arms flung wide, pushing as much as possible forward, again covering the casket closed. I'm certain it must have looked a slop-shed job, but I ensured that the mass of dirt I had unearthed found its way back to its approximate position. Sweat poured down my face. The collected marrow sat well enough away, safe in a carrying case. I drove back that same night. I didn't return to the inn. I didn't bid any farewells. I entered my home as the sun was rising and called Michelle's mother. As I got changed into work clothes, dirt covered what I had been wearing head to toe. I reached her. She rarely slept regular hours anymore. I told her that I was the opinion that we waited long enough and that we should proceed with the rescue process as soon as practically possible. Today, if she was willing. It was a poor bluff and must have seemed extremely out of place to anyone. I was beyond exhausted. But the response I received was that of finality, as though this was something she had been resolved to do for some time. Shall I put on some creepier music to set the mood a little bit better? Sarah Core, thank you for the follow. Welcome, welcome. Okay. Actually, let's do it. Give me a sec. What is this lady doing? I'm trying to find ambient, like, creepy music. What am I supposed to search? Creepy music? Hi, Levarelli. Welcome, welcome. Here. Let's hope this is not too loud. What is that? Your stream makes me want to sleep? That's good. I'm telling you a bedtime story that is creepy, you know? My name is RHF. My name is Umi. Nice to meet you. What is this, Spitfire? What is this? No. 1 hour of silence, occasionally broken up by a falling pipe. Sometimes I put on, you know, the Pikmin one, where it's like an hour of silence, occasionally broken by a Pikmin. I do it when I'm like working, so then it keeps me grounded. Can't believe we're calling Oomers a snooze fest. Just coming in and insulting me now, huh? First time saying hi to me, and this is what we're leaving first impressions like this. Thank you for the follow, RHF. Alright, now the mood is set, right? Now there's like, it's a little creepier. We're at the end of the story, so I guess it's a good way to set the mood. We performed the procedure that same day. Heavily caffeinated, I pulled the marrow from the mother myself. I switched it out for the superior donation, and as precision was of the essence and I was feeling unwell, truthful to the core, I handed it to a junior surgeon to handle the rescue process itself. Perhaps this seems like fantasy. I admit, many things had to happen for it to end up this way. Adam's body was preserved in his poorly insulated house in such immaculate condition. Studies have shown that the efficacy of bone marrow donation is viable such a long time after death, only if the body is preserved at a low temperature. The body itself had to be within a drivable distance of home. The grave had to be locatable and accessible. But the odds of finding such a donor was also slim to begin with. And the odds of a 15-year-old girl living a carefree life after surviving acute leukemia, even with all this, it couldn't be guaranteed. But 2 years on, she's still well, and I will own that for all that is worth. Since then, I've made a small number of similar excursions. A case exactly like Michelle's is unlikely to occur again, but there are other things people take to their graves. Blood for critical transfusions, plasma necessary for a variety of blood disorders, and notably not possible to retrieve from universal donors like whole blood, organs, eyes that could let someone else see more than the inside of a dark box. But it is a small area that I work in, so I have slowly built this network amongst trusted colleagues and friends. This essay, reader, is your invitation, a plea. It has reached you because myself and the rest of the network have identified that you are of outstanding character and drive to do the right thing. Indeed, you have already been benefited from our work several times. I apologize, but I can no longer personalize these messages. If you have need of something for your work, reach out. And if I have need of you, I pray you will answer, and that you'll seek to aid your fellows as we have aided you. You know how to reach us. Dr. S.W. Erdness. And if this essay has gone astray and some unassuming stranger has located it, please pretend you never read this. It's nothing more than a story. And sign your organ donor card. Pretty good. Pretty good. Okay. Alright, well, Q&A with the writer. So when I wrote this, I made sure everything was medically accurate. I did notice that. I was like, wow. Extensive research. I did not know what a HLA, what was it? Talking about bone marrow matches and how it's not a match when it's, what is it? Roxy, thank you for doing cheek pop. Also, Ibeen, hello. Hoi. What was the inspiration? A subathon ago, I did like an ASMR creepypasta reading, and I honestly really enjoyed it. Oh, the HLA mismatch. And so, yeah, I was like, maybe we'll do it again. But yeah, what I could have wrote about but didn't is that the rescue process is a nightmare in itself. Interesting. Like I said before, if you can only do that in real life, but alas, it isn't. Have you seen Nosferatu? I watched Nosferatu 2 days ago. And I mean, it's not super related, but they do kind of deal with the idea of like dead bodies and stuff. And I was reminded of it. I think the way that they deal with doctors back then and superstition, it was really interestingly represented in Nosferatu. Man, they start off by making you drink this concoction that kills off what remains of your immune system entirely. Kills a very real part of you. It feels awful. You can die, and then the marrow will be injected, and you can build up the donor's own immune system inside of you over 3 weeks. Ugh, I made sure marrow is donatable after death. It is. Ugh, man. I did appreciate how medically accurate it was, or at least sounded, because I mean, I'm not a doctor, but I think the fact that it sounded that way made it feel more like I was reading a letter from a doctor, you know? So that's interesting. Yeah. Oh, you wrote, yeah, you wrote this pretty much after the subathon. I was just saying earlier, I read a lot of your earlier writings that you guys posted in the writing channel in Discord, but guys, you guys are so active in the Discord, it's sometimes hard to catch up nowadays. Also, if anybody's new here and would like to join, the Discord is !Discord. Okay. Before we go into the next story, also if anybody has any creepypastas that they would like me to read, feel free to drop it into the Discord as well. Let me pull up the the next one. Oh my god, this is from the OG creepypasta page too. I love the way this looks. I remember staying up in bed, reading creepypastas, and I had to finish them. Because if I didn't, I feel like it would be even scarier than finishing it. Or not finishing it, you know? You missed the first story, scoffed. Kitty McWiddles, thank you for the cheek puff. Okay, wait. I need to pee. And I'll be back. Unfortunately, the part where the monster jumps out and goes ooga booga didn't get in. Oh, my favorite creepypasta. It's the one where the monster jumps out and then goes ooga booga. Okay, wait, I need to pee. I will be right back, but right after I come back, we will be reading our second creepypasta. Hope no one ends your stream while you're away. Oh. I hope not. But I'm glad I got one story in. So remember the one, if the person is your sister or not, the one about meeting the girl at the con? That was crazy. That was reading it, and then it was about a streamer that you think was real, you build a connection with, and then she hosts like a meet and greet. She hosts like a UmiCon, you know? But then something is off, and she doesn't feel like she's the same that like in the streams that she doesn't feel exactly the same anymore, but only you notice. Nice to meet you, Omaruto. My name's Umi. Nice to meet you. Been listening to creepypastas. There's still a good way to spend the night to sleep with. It's like telling creepy stories around the campfire, you know? The guy telling the story was like one of the mods or something. Yeah, and he was like, I swear, I can't find any of the mods anymore. I can't find like her channel. It's gone. All of it is gone. But she was real, and creepy stories are cool to learn English? Ah, I feel like there's been a couple people recently coming in and like telling me that they enjoy my voice and that they're using me to learn English, and I find that really cool because when I first started getting into VTubers, that's how I got started with learning Japanese, because it was easier to hear a lot of repeated phrases and just like hear how they talk conversationally. And I do think streaming is a good way to learn languages. I'm learning English too. What languages do you speak other than, I guess now you're learning English? It's a nice voice. I also speak Japanese. That's cool. Also, thank you. Wait, I need to pee, but I will be back and we'll continue our next story. I will be right back. upon a time, there was a guy named Spitfire, and he tried to write a story in chat. And he did it. Congratulations, the end. Was he hot? I don't know, you tell me. That's all we got. That's all I got in the story, so you're allowed to make as many fan fictions and fan art and fan canons as you would like. How you doing, guys? Hi, Echo. Hi, Brooksy. Alright. Umers, this isn't a very good story. Well, then let's get to a good one. We are reading Psychosis now. Oh. Okay. I zoom in. Oops. No. The answer is no. Right. Thank you for the story, Spitfire. I actually really enjoyed it. I'm glad you shared something you wrote. Was there any particular reason why you wanted to write about, I guess, a doctor? He was lit. Umi as my DM. I don't know, bro. Ask someone else. This is why I never DM. This is why I have never DM'd. But honestly, maybe it'd be fun too. You know? I signed up to donate bone marrow the week before. Oh, wow, that's cool. I have always been wanting to get a, you know, like a card that you can keep in your wallet and stuff to say that you donate your body to science. I'd donate my body to science. I don't think I could. I'm good at creation, I feel, though. DMing? Why don't you feel like you could? I feel like being a DM is more or less being a creator of worlds / storyteller of some sorts. I've got a few more in works. Ooh, wow. Do you mostly draw inspo from things around you? And also, do you have a genre of preference, I guess? I rolled to attack Umers. I hope you get a nat 1. I'm more so like going with the flow sort of things. I see. Well, maybe you could try, if you are ever interested in DMing, you should go with trying out with a one-shot or something. I feel like you can always do a campaign where you kind of go with the flow of things more than something too concrete. One-shot's always cool. Alright, shall we start? The story is called Psychosis. Esper and Force, thank you for recommending it. November 3rd, 2010. Alright. Sunday. I'm not sure why I'm writing this down on paper and not my computer. I guess I've just noticed some odd things. It's not that I don't trust the computer, I just need to organize my thoughts. I need to get down all the details somewhere objective, somewhere I know that what I write can't be deleted or changed. Not that that's happened. It's just everything blurs together here. And the fog of memory lends a strange cast to things. I'm starting to feel cramped in this small apartment. Maybe that's the problem. I just had to go and choose the cheapest apartment, the only one in the basement. The lack of windows down here makes day and night seem to slip by seamlessly. I haven't been out in a few days because I've been working on this programming project so intensively. I suppose I just wanted to get it done. Hours of sitting and staring at a monitor can make anyone feel strange, I know, but I don't think that's it. I'm not sure when I first started to feel like something was odd. I can't even define what it is. Maybe I just haven't talked to anyone in a while. That's the first thing that crept up on me. Everyone I normally talk to online while I program has been idle, or they've simply not logged on at all. My instant messages go unanswered. The last email I got from anybody was a friend saying he'd talk to me when he got back from the store, and that was yesterday. I call with my cell phone, but reception's terrible down here. Yeah, that's it. I just need to call someone. I'm gonna go outside. Oh. Who? Okay. I have to say, the last email I got from anybody was a friend saying he talked to me when he got back from the store. Who writes an email to somebody and they're like, yeah, I'll be back from the store in a bit. But okay, wait, actually, I guess this is 2010. 2010, I guess? I mean, yeah, I guess emails were still primary source of communication, but like, that's pretty funny to think about now. Still feel like a text, right? I'm like, but I feel like you would still text someone. Sending an email, right? Yeah, there's still text messaging. Like, even if you had to... Dude, I used to be so good at texting on... Like, I can still text really, really fast, but when I could text so much better when I could feel the physical buttons, you know? I remember when I had everything memorized, like how many times I gotta press each button for whatever, and I would just be able to type and text without looking. You know? Pokemon 73 LPYT, hello, hello. Hey, me, I'll be back from the store soon. Want anything? Send word via carrier, pigeon. Either way, I'm bored. That's a great email. Thank you. Thank you for leaving that. Like, who sends an email like this? But, you know, he just needs to touch grass. I just need to call someone. I'm going outside. Okay. Where's this one? Went over the letter you needed? Oh, true. Oh my god. And then it would split the text message into two or something as well. Oh, you mean like... Oh, yeah, when you type a letter and then you accidentally click it once too many times and you're like, fuck, now I have to type the whole thing again. But, like, sometimes when I would send a text message as well and it's too long, it would split into two and it would cost more money. Man, now you can just, like, text anyone. It doesn't cost any money. Okay, enough of sounding like a boomer. Let me continue the story. Alright. Yeah, I just need to go outside. I just need to go outside. Also, have a good lurk, scuffed. Well, that didn't work so well. As the tingle of fear fades, I'm feeling a little ridiculous for being scared at all. I looked in the mirror before I went out, but I didn't shave the 2-day stubble I've grown. Ah, yes, my 2-day stubble. I figured I was just going out for a quick cell phone call. I did change my shirt, though, because it was lunchtime, and I guess that I'd run into at least one person I knew. That didn't end up happening. I wish it did. Also, this is insane. The fact that... Oh no, but he did bring his phone. Yeah, because they're going out for a cell phone call. When I went out, I opened the door to my small apartment slowly. A small feeling of apprehension had somehow already lodged itself in me for some undefinable reason. I chalked it up to not having spoken to anyone but myself for a day or two. I peered down the dingy gray hallway, made dingier by the fact that it was a basement hallway. On one end, a large metal door led to the building's furnace room. It was locked, of course. 2 dreary soda machines stood by it. I brought a soda from one the first day I moved in, but it had a 2-year-old expiration date. I'm fairly sure nobody knows those machines are even down there, or my cheap landlady just doesn't care to get them restocked. I closed my door softly and walked the other direction, taking care not to make a sound. I have no idea why I chose to do that, but it was fun giving in to the strange impulse not to break the droning hum of the soda machines, at least for the moment. I got to the stairwell and took the stairs up to the building's front door. I looked through the heavy door's small square window and received quite the shock. It was definitely not lunchtime. City gloom hung over the dark street outside, and the traffic lights at the intersection in the distance blinked yellow. Dim clouds, purple and black from the glow of the city, hung overhead. Nothing moved, save the few sidewalk trees that shifted in the wind. I remember shivering, though I wasn't cold. Maybe it was the wind outside. I could vaguely hear it through the metal door, and I knew that unique kind of late-night wind, that kind that was constant, cold, and quiet, save for the rhythmic music it made as it passed through the countless unseen tree leaves. I decided not to go outside. Instead, I lifted my cell phone to the door's little window and checked the signal meter. The bars filled up the meter, and I smiled. Time to hear someone else's voice, I remember thinking, relieved. It was such a strange thing, to be afraid of nothing. I shook my head, laughing at myself silently. I hit speed dial for my best friend Amy's number and held the phone up to my ear. It rang once, but then it stopped. Nothing happened. I listened to the silence for a good 20 seconds, then hung up. I frowned and looked at the signal meter again. Still full. I went to dial her number again, but then my phone rang in my hand, startling me. I put it up to my ear. "Hello?" I asked, immediately fighting down a small shock at hearing the first spoken voice in days, even if it was my own. I had gotten used to the droning hum of the building's inner workings, my computer and the soda machines in the hallways. There was no response to my greeting at first, but then a voice came. "Hey," said a clear male voice, obviously of college age, like me. "Who's this?" "John?" I replied, confused. "Oh, sorry, wrong number," he replied, and then hung up. I lowered the phone slowly and leaned against the thick brick wall of the stairwell. That was strange. I looked at my received calls list, but the number was unfamiliar. Before I could think on it further, the phone rang loudly, shocking me yet again. This time, I looked at the caller before I answered. It was another unfamiliar number. This time, I held the phone up to my ear, but said nothing. I heard nothing but the general background noise of a phone. Then a familiar voice broke my tension. "John?" was the single word in Amy's voice. I breathed a sigh of relief. "Hey, it's you," I replied. "Who else would it be?" she responded. "Oh, the number. I'm at a party on 7th Street, and my phone died just as you called me. This is someone else's phone, obviously." "Oh, okay," I said. "Where are you?" she said. My eyes glanced over the drab whitewashed cylinder block walls and the heavy metal door with its small window. "At my building," I sighed. I was feeling cooped up. I didn't realize it was so late. "You should come here," she said, laughing. "Nah, I don't feel like looking for some strange place by myself in the middle of the night," I said, looking out the window at the silent, windy street that secretly scared me just a tiny bit. "I think I'm just gonna keep working or go to bed." "Nonsense," she replied. "I can come get you. Your building is close to 7th Street, right?" "How drunk are you?" I asked lightheartedly. "You know where I live." "Oh, of course," she said abruptly. "I guess I can't get there by walking, huh?" Well, you could if you wanted to waste half an hour," I told her. "Right," she said. "Okay, have to go. Good luck with your work." I lowered the phone once more, looking at the numbers flash at the screen as the call ended. Then the droning silence suddenly reasserted itself in my ears. The two strange calls in the eerie street outside just drove home my aloneness in this empty stairwell. Perhaps from having seen too many scary movies, I had the sudden inexplicable idea that something could look in that door's window, and see me. Some sort of horrible entity that hovered at the edge of aloneness, just waiting to creep up on unsuspecting people that strayed too far from other human beings. I knew the fear was irrational, but nobody else was around, so I jumped down the stairs, ran down the hallway into my room, and closed the door as swiftly as I could, while still staying silent. Like I said, I feel a little ridiculous for being scared of nothing, and the fear has already faded. Writing this down helps a lot. It makes me realize that nothing is wrong. It filters out half-formed thoughts and fears and leaves only cold, hard facts. It's late. I got a call from a wrong number, and Amy's phone died, so she called me back from another number. Nothing strange is happening. When a creepypasta says nothing strange is happening, that's when you start to expect something strange to happen. We want to see how... Okay. See how long this is. Okay, good. Ding dong. Hi, Vince. How you doing? nothing strange is happening. Still, there was something a little off about that conversation. I know it could have just been the alcohol she had, or was it even her that seemed off to me? Or was it... Yes, that was it. I didn't realize it until this moment, writing these things down. I knew writing things down would help. She said that she was at a party, but I'd only heard silence in the background. Of course, that doesn't mean anything in particular, as she could have just gone outside to make the call. No, that couldn't be either. I didn't hear the wind. I need to see if the wind is still blowing. That's Sunday. Monday. I forgot to finish writing last night. I'm not sure what I expected to see when I ran up the stairwell and looked up out the heavy metal door's window. I'm feeling ridiculous. Last night's fear seemed hazy and unreasonable to me now. I can't wait to go out into the sunlight. I'm going to check my email, shave, shower, and finally get out of here. Wait, I think I heard something. It was thunder. That whole sunlight and fresh air thing didn't happen. I went out into the stairwell and up the stairs, only to find disappointment. The heavy metal door's little window showed only flowing water. A torrential rain slammed against it. Only a very dim, gloomy light filtered in through the rain. But at least I knew it was daytime, even if it was a gray, sickly, wet day. I tried looking out the window and waiting for lightning to illuminate the gloom. But the rain was too heavy, and I couldn't make out anything more than vague, weird shapes moving at odd angles and the waves washing down the window. Disappointed, I turned around, but I didn't want to go back to my room. Instead, I wandered further up the stairs, past the first floor and the second. The stairs ended at the third floor, the highest floor in the building. I looked through the glass that ran up the outer wall of the stairwell, but it was that warped, thick kind that scatters the light, not that there was much to see through the rain to begin with. I opened the stairwell door and wandered down the hallway. The 10 or so thick wooden doors, painted blue a long time ago, were all closed. I listened as I walked, but it was the middle of the day, so I wasn't surprised that I heard nothing but the rain outside. As I stood there in the dim hallway, listening to the rain, I had the strange, fleeting impression that the doors were standing like silent granite monoliths, erected by some ancient, forgotten civilization for some unfathomable guardian purpose. Lightning flashed, and I could have sworn that, just for a moment, the old grainy blue wood looked just like rough stone. I laughed at myself for letting my imagination get the best of me. But then it occurred to me that the dim gloom and lightning must mean there was a window somewhere in the hallway. A vague memory surfaced, and I suddenly recalled that the third floor had an alcove and an inset window halfway down the floor's hallway. That the thing he's describing kind of sounds like the hallway and the background of what's it called? Me Side, where we kind of look out the door and it's like creepy. Okay, my music is almost up too. Here, I will cue some more horror music. Okay. Excited to look out into the rain and possibly see another human being, I quickly walked over to the alcove, finding the large, thin glass window. Rain washed down it, as with the front door's window, but I could open this one. I reached a hand out to slide it open, but hesitated. I had the strangest feeling that if I opened that window, I would see something absolutely horrifying on the other side. Everything's been so odd lately, so I came out with a plan, and came back here to get what I needed. I don't seriously think anything will come out of it, but I'm bored, it's raining, and I'm going stir crazy. I came back to get my webcam. The cord isn't long enough to reach the third floor by any means, so instead I'm going to hide it between the two soda machines in the dark end of my basement hallway. run the wire along the wall and under my door, and put black duct tape over the wire to blend it in with the black plastic strip that runs along the base of the hallway's walls. I know this is silly, but I don't have anything better to do. Well, nothing happened. I propped open the hallway to stairwell door, steeled myself in, then flung the heavy front door wide open and ran the hell down the stairs to my room and slammed the door. I watched the webcam on the computer intently, seeing the hallway outside the door and most of the stairwell. I'm watching it now, and I don't see anything interesting. I just wish the camera's position was different, so that I could see out the front door. Hey, somebody's online. Wait, I forgot to... I got out an older, less functional webcam that I had in my closet to video chat with my friend online. I couldn't really explain to him why I wanted to video chat, but it felt good to see another person's face. He couldn't talk very long, and we didn't talk about anything meaningful, but I feel much better. My strange fear has almost passed. I would feel completely better, but there was something odd about our conversation. I know that I've said that everything has seemed odd, but still, he seemed very vague in his responses. I can't recall one specific thing that he said. No particular name, or place or event, but he did ask for my email address to keep in touch. Wait, I just got an email. I'm about to go out. I just got an email from Amy that asked me to meet for dinner at the place we usually go to. I do love pizza, and I've just been eating random food from my poorly stocked fridge for days, so I can't wait. Again, I feel ridiculous about the odd couple of days I've been having. I should just destroy this journal when I get back. Oh, another email. Oh my god, I almost just left the email and opened the door. I almost opened the door, but I read the email first. It was from a friend I hadn't heard from in a long time, but it was sent to a huge number of emails that must have been every person he had saved in his address list. It had no subject. And it said simply, "Seen with your own eyes. Don't trust them. They..." What the hell is that supposed to mean? The words shock me, and I keep going over and over them. Is it a desperate email sent just as something happened? The words are obviously cut off without finishing. On any other day, I would have dismissed this as spam from a computer virus or something. But the words, "seen with your own eyes," I can't help but read over this journal and think back on the last few days and realize that I have not seen another person with my own eyes or talked to another person face to face. The webcam conversation with my friend was so strange, so vague, so eerie. Now that I think about it, was it eerie? Or is that fear clouding my memory? My mind toys with the progression of events that I've written here, pointing out that I have not been presented with one single fact that I do not specifically give out unsuspectingly. The random wrong number that got my name, and the subsequent strange return call from Amy, the friend that asked for my email address. I messaged him first when I saw him online, and then I got my first email a few minutes after that conversation. Oh my god, that phone call with Amy, I said over the phone. I said that I was within half an hour's walk of 7th Street. They know I'm there. What if they're trying to find me? Where is everyone else? Why haven't I seen or heard anyone else in days? No, this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. I need to calm down. This madness needs to end. Advertisements. I don't know what to think. I ran about my apartment furiously, holding my cell phone up to every corner to see if it got a signal through the heavy walls. Finally, in the tiny bathroom near one ceiling corner, I got a single bar. Holding my phone there, I sent a text message to every number down in my list. Not wanting to betray anything about my unfounded fears, I simply sent, "You seen anyone face to face lately?" At that point, I just wanted any reply back. I didn't care what the reply was or if I embarrassed myself. I tried to call someone a few times, but I couldn't get my head up high enough. And if I brought my cell phone down even an inch, it lost signal. Then I remembered the computer and rushed over to it, instant messaging everyone online. Most were idle or away from their computer. Nobody responded. My messages grew more frantic, and I started telling people where I was and to stop by in person for a host of barely passable reasons. I didn't care about anything by that point. I just needed to see another person. I also tore apart my apartment looking for something that I must have missed. Some way to contact another human being without opening the door. I know it's crazy. I know it's unfounded, but what if? What if? I just needed to be sure. I taped the phone to the ceiling just in case. Tuesday. The phone rang. Exhausted from last night's rampage, I must have fallen asleep. I woke up to the phone ringing and ran into the bathroom, stood on the toilet, and flipped open the phone taped to the ceiling. It was Amy, and I feel so much better. She really was worried about me, and apparently had been trying to contact me since the last time I talked to her. She's coming over now, and yes, she knows where I am without telling her. Oh, I feel so embarrassed. I am definitely throwing this journal away before anyone sees it. I don't even know why I'm writing it now. Maybe it's just because it's the only communication I've had since God knows when. I look like hell, too. I looked in the mirror before I came back in here. My eyes are sunken, my stubble is thicker, and I just look generally unhealthy. My apartment is trashed, but I'm not gonna clean it up. I think I need someone else to see what I've been through. These past few days have not been normal. I'm not one to imagine things. I know I've been the victim of extreme probability. I probably missed seeing another person a dozen times. I just happened to go out when it was late at night or the middle of the day when everyone was gone. Everything's perfectly fine. I know this now. Plus, I found something in the plaza last night that has helped me tremendously. A television. I set it up just before I wrote this, and it's on the background. Television has always been an escape for me, and it reminds me that there's a world beyond these dingy brick walls. I'm glad Amy's the only one that responded to me after last night's frantic pestering of everyone I could contact. She's been my best friend for years. She doesn't know it, but I count the day that I met her among one of the few moments of true happiness in my life. I remember that warm summer day fondly. Seems that a different reality from this dark, rainy, lonely place. I feel like I spent days listening to that, and sitting in that playground, much too old to play, just talking with her and hanging around, doing nothing at all. I still feel like I can go back to that moment, and sometimes it reminds me that this damn place is not all that there is. Oh, finally! A knock on the door. I thought it was odd that I couldn't see her through the camera. I hid between the two soda machines. I figured that it was bad positioning, like I couldn't see out the front door. I should have known. After the knock, I yelled through the door jokingly that I had a camera between the soda machines because I was embarrassed myself that I had taken this paranoia so far. After I did that, I saw her image walk over to the camera and look down at it. She smiled and waved. "Hey," she said to the camera brightly, giving a wry look. "It's weird, I know," I said to the mic attached to the computer. "I've had a few weird days." "Must have," she replied. "Open the door, John." I hesitated. How could I be sure? "Hey, humor me for a second here," I told her through the mic. "Tell me one thing about us, just to prove to me that you're you." She gave the camera a weird look. Alright," she said, slowly thinking. We met randomly at a playground when we were both way too old to be there, remember?" I sighed deeply as reality returned and fear faded. God, I'd been so ridiculous. Of course it was Amy. That day wasn't anywhere in the world except in my memory. I'd never even mentioned it to anyone, not out of embarrassment, but out of a strange secret nostalgia and a longing for those days to return. There was some unknown force at work trying to trick me, as I feared, There's no way they could even know about that day. Alright, I'll explain everything. I told her, be right there. God. This is giving like skinwalkers, you know? It's definitely, they're like skinwalkers, right? He surely is going crazy though. I think having gone through COVID and actually having like been isolated as well, I think it makes that feeling of being stir crazy so much more real, you know? It's like being trapped, not being able to contact people. It definitely is a different type of horror. But I do think that like nowadays, because we can communicate so easily with so many people, the fear of not knowing is rarely felt, because everyone always knows where everyone is, what everyone's doing. You can reach anyone at a moment's notice. But when you are just a little bit more isolated than that, when you don't have that instant technology, I feel like it makes it a lot easier for you to be paranoid, you know? Okay, let me drink some water. If someone ghosts you, chat, they're just trying to make you have an authentic creepy experience. And if they ghost you during Halloween, you know, it's Halloween, you know? They're just getting in the spirit of things. Alright, I'll explain everything. I told her to be right there. I ran into my small bathroom and fixed my hair the best I could. It looked like hell, but she would understand. Snickering at my own unbelievable behavior, the mess I'd made of the place, I walked to the door. I put my hand on the doorknob and gave the mess one last look. So ridiculous, I thought. My eyes traced over the half-eaten food lying on the ground, the overflowing trash bin, and the bed I'd tipped to the side looking for God knows what. I almost turned to the door and opened it, but my eyes fell on one last thing. The old webcam. The one that I used for that eerily vacant chat with my friend. Its silent black sphere lay haphazardly, tossed to the side. Its lens pointed to the table where this journal lay. An overwhelming terror took me as I realized that if something could see through that camera, it would have seen what I just wrote about that day. I had asked her for any one thing about us, and she chose the only thing in the world that I thought did not know. But it did know. It could have been watching me the whole time. I didn't open the door. I screamed in uncontrollable terror. I stomped on the old webcam on the floor. The door shook and the doorknob tried to turn, but I didn't hear Amy's voice through the door. Was the basement door made to keep our outdrafts too thick, or was Amy not outside? What could have been trying to get in if not her? What the hell is out there? I saw her on my computer through the camera outside. I heard her on the speakers through the camera outside, but it was real? Was it real? How can I know? She's gone now. I screamed and I shouted for help. I piled up everything in my apartment outside the front door. Friday. At least, I think that it's Friday. I broke everything electronic. I smashed my computer to pieces. Every single thing on there could have been accessed by network access, or worse, altered. I'm a programmer, I know. Every little piece of information I gave out since this started, my name, my email, my location, none of it came back from outside until I gave it out. I've been going over and over what I wrote. I've been pacing back and forth, alternating between stark terror and overwhelming disbelief. Sometimes I'm absolutely certain some phantom entity is dead set on the simple goal of getting me to go outside. Back to the beginning, with a phone call from Amy, she was effectively asking me to open the door and go outside. I keep running through it in my head. One point of view says I've acted like a madman, and all of this is the extreme convergence of probability. Never going outside at night, at the right times, by pure luck. Never seeing another person by pure chance, getting a random nonsense email from some computer virus at just the right time. The other point of view says the extreme convergence of probability is the reason that whatever's out there hasn't gotten me already. I keep thinking, I never opened the window on the 3rd floor. I never opened the front door until that incredibly stupid stunt with the hidden camera, after which I ran straight to my room and slammed the door. I haven't opened my own solid door since I flung open the front door of the building. Whatever's out there, if anything's out there, never made an appearance in the building before I opened the front door. Maybe the reason it wasn't in the building already was that it was elsewhere getting everything else, getting everyone else, and then it waited until I betrayed my existence by trying to call Amy, a call which didn't work, until it called me and asked me my name. Terror literally overwhelms me every time I try to fit the pieces of this nightmare together. That email, short, cut off, was it from someone who trying to get that word out? Some friendly voice desperately trying to warn me before it came? Seen with my own eyes, don't trust them. Exactly what I've been so suspicious of. It could have been masterful control of all things electronic, practicing its insidious deception to trick me into coming outside. Why can't I get in? I knocked on the door. It must have some solid presence. The door, the image of those doors in the upper hallway as guardian monoliths flashes back in my mind every time I trace the path of thoughts. If there is some phantom entity trying to get me to go outside, maybe it can't get through the doors. I keep thinking back over all the books I've read or movies I've seen, trying to generate some sort of explanation for this. Doors have always been such an intense focus of human imagination, always seen as wards or portals of special importance. Or perhaps the door is just too thick? I know that I couldn't bash through any of the doors in this in this building, let alone the heavy basement ones. Aside from that, the real question is, why does it want me? If it's just wanting to kill me, it could do it in any number of ways, including just waiting until I starve to death. What if it doesn't... What if it doesn't want to kill me? What if it has some far more horrific fate in store for me? God, what can I do to escape this nightmare? A knock on the door. Oops. Oh, no. No. I told the people on the other side of the door I need a minute to think and I'll come out. I'm really just writing this down so I can figure out what to do. At least this time I heard their voices. My paranoia, and yes, I recognize I'm being paranoid, has me thinking of all sorts of ways that their voices could be faked electronically. There could be nothing but speakers outside simulating human voices. Did it really take them 3 days to come talk to me? Amy is supposedly out there, along with 2 policemen and a psychiatrist. Maybe it took them 3 days to think of what to say to me. The psychiatrist's claim could be pretty convincing, but I decided to think this has been all a crazy misunderstanding and not some entity trying to trick me into opening the door. The psychiatrist had an older voice, authoritarian but still caring. I liked it. I'm desperate just to see someone with my own eyes. He said I have something called cyber psychosis, and I'm just one of a nationwide epidemic of thousands of people getting breakdowns triggered by a suggestive email that got through somehow. I swear he said got through somehow. I think he means spread throughout the country inexplicably, but I'm incredibly suspicious that the entity slipped up and revealed something. He said I am part of a wave of emergent behavior, that a lot of other people are having the same problem with the same fears, even though we've never communicated. That neatly explains the strange email about the eyes that I got. I didn't get the original triggering email. I got a descendant of it. My friend could have broken down too and tried to warn everyone he knew against his paranoid fears. That's how the problem spreads, the psychiatrist claims. I could have spread it too with my texts and instant messages online to everyone I know. One of those people might be melting down right now after being triggered by something I sent them. Something they might interpret any way that they want. Something like a text saying, seen anyone face to face lately? The psychiatrist told me that he didn't want to lose another one. That people like me are intelligent, and that's our downfall. That people, and we draw connections so well that we draw them even when they shouldn't be there. He said that it's easy to get caught up in paranoia in our fast-paced world, a constantly changing place where more and more of our interaction is simulated. I have to give him one thing. It's a great explanation. It neatly explains everything. It perfectly explains everything. In fact, I have every reason to shake off this nightmarish fear that something or consciousness or being out there wants me to open the door so it can capture me for some horrible fate worse than death. It could be foolish, after hearing that explanation, to stay in here until I starve to death just to spite the entity that might have gotten everyone else. It would be foolish to think that, after hearing that explanation, I might be one of the last people left alive on an empty world, hiding in my secure basement room, spiting some unthinkable deceptive entity just by refusing to be captured. It's a perfect explanation for every single strange thing I've seen or heard, and I have every reason in the world to let go of all my fears and open the door. That's exactly why I'm not going to. How can I be sure? How can I know what's real and what's deception? All these damn things with their wires and their signals that originate from some unseen origin. They're not real. I can't be sure. Signals through a camera, faked video, deceptive phone calls, emails, even the television lying broken on the floor. How can I possibly know it's real? It's just signals, waves, lights, the door. It's bashing on the door. It's trying to get in. What insane mechanical contrivance could it be, using to simulate the sound of men attacking the heavy wood so well? At least I'll finally see it with my own eyes. There's nothing left in here for it to deceive me with. I've ripped apart everything else. It can't deceive my own eyes, can it? Seen with my own eyes, don't trust them. Wait, that desperate message telling me to trust my eyes, or warning me about my eyes too? Oh my god, what's the difference between my camera and my eyes? They both turn light into electrical signals. They're the same. I can't be deceived. I have to be sure. I have to be sure. Wow, we have reached date unknown. Don't open the door, Denji. Oh my god, same thoughts when he kept saying heavy metal door. All I could hear was Pochita going, don't open the door, Denji. Redacted is always listening. Amy? Amy who? It is interesting the way the anxiety is shown here, because the worst part about anxiety is that anxiety can always be justified. I'm sure some of you guys listening, I'm sure you guys have either experienced anxiety before or have suffered through it, and like the thing with anxiety is that it's always real, you know? Like, you can overthink so much and it can still be justified because you're like, I need to be sure. I need to be so sure that I need to double check that something bad is not going to happen. It's that what if. It's like, what if there's an entity out the door? What if it's a stranger? What if everything is against me? What if my Alexa is plotting to kill me? Like, what if? And you know what? It's a what if because it could possibly happen. But when you let your anxiety get the best of you, when you let anxiety control your thoughts so much, when you let yourself justify all of your overthinking, you're never gonna stop. And you're always gonna be controlled by anxiety, you know? Which is rough. Let me take a moment to reiterate that you would like, oh, I know, I put it on my, What Remains of Edith Finch, I put in my cart, and I was thinking about getting it during the winter sale, because I think it was on sale. Maybe I'll nab it at a different sale date or something. I feel like that'd be fun. Actually, did I get it? Oh, I did get it. I bought it during winter sale. During the winter Steam sale, I bought When It Remains of Edith Finch. Keep Talking, Nobody Explodes. Spiritfarer. Game of Sisyphus. Plastic Duck. Aciprite. Aciprite. The pixel thing. And then I got House Flipper. Yeah. Hopefully I will get a chance to play it. I feel like I would like it. I feel like it's like similar vibes to Slay the Princess, kind of. Ducks are all you need. Fuck Edith Finch. Hey, I actually do really like it. I'm glad you suggested it. Okay. Let's continue. This is a long story. Let me drink a bit more water. Before my voice gets all I guess Slay the Princess as in, I feel like I would enjoy it in the same way with what I get out of it, maybe. But it's only 2 hours, okay, so that means I can definitely finish it under 4 hours, right? 100%. Alright. Date unknown. What is this music? Sure, this is a interesting background. Let's keep this. Date unknown. I calmly asked for paper and pen, day in and day out, until it finally gave them to me. Not that it matters. What am I gonna do? Poke my eyes out? The bandages feel like part of me now. The pain is gone. I figured this will be one of my last chances to write legibly, as without my sight to correct mistakes, my hands will slowly forget the motions involved. This is a sort of self-indulgence, this writing. It's a relic of another time, because I'm certain everyone left in the world is dead, or something far worse. I sit against the padded wall, day in, day out. The entity brings me food and water. It masks itself as a kind nurse. What the fuck was that? What was that sound? What was that? Anyways, it's the entity, guys. If I disappear on stream, you'll know what got me. You heard that, right? What was that? In the walls. It masks itself as a kind nurse, as an unsympathetic doctor. I think it knows that my hearing has sharpened considerably now that I live in darkness. It fakes conversations in the hallways, on the off chance that I might soon overhear. One of the nurses talks about having a baby soon. One of the doctors lost his wife in a car accident. None of it matters. None of it is real. None of it gets to me. Not like she does. That's the worst part. The part I almost can't handle. The thing comes to me, masquerading as Amy. Its recreation is perfect. It sounds exactly like Amy. Feels exactly like her. It even produces a reasonable fake smile facsimile. What is this word? Facsimile. An exact copy. Written or printed material. Everything okay? Everything okay with you? Everything is good? Facsimile. I've never seen this word. Huh. Facsimile of smile. Of tears, sorry. That it makes me feel on its lifelike cheeks. But yeah, stay safe. Again, anyone in California, oh my god. Let me know how you're doing. It's really scary seeing the updates on like social media. A lot of people posting on their like stories and Twitter and stuff. Please stay safe. But everything's good. We're going through the creepypasta. It sounds exactly like Amy. Feels exactly like her. It even produces a reasonable facsimile of tears that makes it... Oh, wait, what? That makes me feel on its lifelike cheeks. When it first dragged me here, it told me all the things I wanted to hear. It told me that she loved me, that she had always loved me, that it didn't understand why it did this, that we could still have a life together. If only I would stop insisting that I was being deceived. It wanted me to believe. No. It needed me to believe that she was real. I almost fell for it. I really did. I doubted myself for the longest time. In the end, though, it was all too perfect, too flawless, and too real. The false Amy used to come every day, and then every week, and finally stopped coming altogether. But I don't think the entity will give up. I think the waiting game is just another one of its gambits. I will resist it for the rest of my life if I have to. I don't know what happened to the rest of the world, but I do know that this thing needs me to fall for its deceptions. If it needs that, then maybe, just maybe, I am a thorn in its agenda. Maybe. Amy is still alive out there somewhere, kept alive only by my will to resist the deceiver. I hold on to that hope, rocking back and forth in my cell to pass the time. I'll never give in. I'll never break. I am a hero. The doctor read the paper the patient had scribbled on. It was barely readable, written in the shaky script of who could not see. He wanted to smile at the man's steadfast resolve, reminder of the human will to survive, but he knew the patient was completely delusional. After all, a sane man would have fallen for the deception long ago. The doctor wanted to smile. He wanted to whisper words of encouragement to the delusional man. He wanted to scream, but the nerve filaments wrapped around his head and into his eyes made him do otherwise. His body walked into the cell like a puppet and told the patient once more that he was wrong and that nobody was trying to deceive him. Ooh, pretty good. He was correct all along. I think that's the scariest part, is when you have so much anxiety over what could be real, but the fact that it was real, I feel like it's like it makes all that anxiety justified. Perhaps that is the scariest part. It's also really, really sad because it sounds quite real. This type of psychosis, I guess. This type of unraveling into like this point of anxiety where everyone's out to get you. Everything is not real or could be real, or yeah. I have a close friend of mine whose sibling kind of I feel like went through something like this, but I feel like that makes it sad, doesn't it? Like this unraveling. I don't know. I think that's the worst part of this creepypasta, the fact that it's kind of sad. But I do think horror and grief and sadness and terror and trauma and grief, did I say grief already? Kind of goes hand in hand, I suppose. Hi Kuden, thank you for the stretch, the posture check, and the hydrate. I do really need to hydrate after talking for so long. I have a friend of mine whose sibling is schizophrenic, and for a long time they wouldn't take their meds because they thought that everyone was trying to poison them and had to get sent to it's like this story, getting sent to a psych ward for thinking that everyone is trying to kill you, that your own family is trying to poison you, your own family is trying to get you when they're not. And that's the saddest part. It's like, yo dude, you gotta take your medication for your schizophrenia, dude. But then thinking that it's not real is really sad, you know? Anyways, next story. I've been failing at my self-care job? No! I love it when you come in and make sure that you send in a self-care package. Alright. Sleep sounds. Okay. Can I zoom in? Let me see. Can I close this? No. Okay. Let me use your voice to fall asleep. Well, our next creepypasta is called Sleep Sounds. I love that these suggested creepypastas have been very on theme. I won't show this one. I'll just read it. Because I feel like showing you the Reddit page kind of ruins the immersion. Treat this like a creepypasta radio, okay? Umi's voice, nice, crazy. But man, that last story was quite a lot. I get very anxious. I don't know if I seem like a very anxious person to you, but I have a lot of anxiety, and I always overthink a lot of things, and I not only do I overthink a lot of things, I feel like I have to, you know? It's like if I don't go through a mental checklist of making sure that every little thing has to be perfect in every little way, and I have gone through the mental exercise of every single worst case scenario, then how can I go through that situation if I encounter a worst case scenario? And that anxiety is so hard to get rid of. Even if you know that it's driving you insane, even though you know that it's not good for you. And anxiety can be good to some degree, you know? Anxiety can be good where it saves you from danger, you know? Like, it's good to have some type of fear because that's how your body learns to protect you. Anxiety is not a thing that's supposed to rule your life. It's just something that your body automatically experiences in order to make sure that you're okay. Just like fear, just like sadness, just like pain, you know? But anxiety, I wish it did not have such a huge hold on my mind, you know? Thank you for the head pat, Brooksy. I'll add a head pat redeem. That's a good suggestion. Yeah. If you have a nicer voice than Umi, that'd be crazy. Spitfire does have a nicer voice than me. You can go listen to him in Seiyu in the Discord. Yeah. Anxiety is rough. I feel like the worst part about anxiety is that it always feels justified. It feels logical, almost. Because if you are anxious and then something goes wrong, you can be like, fuck, I should have been more prepared. I should have been more anxious. I should have thought of everything more. I should have whatever. And then if things do go right, then it kind of solidifies your anxiety and why it exists. You're like, I should be anxious. That anxiety was justified because now everything it works out because it's because I was anxious. That's why it worked out. It's rough. But it's like that story where when you're slowly going crazy and you think that the people around you are trying to get you, trying to deceive you, and you think you're being paranoid, you think you're being overly cautious. But what if you're not? But what if you're not? But what if you're not being overly anxious? What if you're not being too like in your head about things? Like, what if? But then the what ifs drive people crazy. And I feel like the first time I watched Everything Everywhere All at Once, that was the first message that hit me across the face. I think the what ifs will drive you crazy, you know? Alright. Unearned. Definitely earned. You can go check out Seiyu in the Discord. Alright. Are you ready to fall asleep to some more creepypastas? The story we're going through right now is... Oh, wait, can somebody pin this? Can somebody pin this? Oh, in case anyone is curious about what story we're currently reading. Thank you. If you use sleep sounds at night, stop. I was diagnosed with insomnia years ago. I would lie down in my bed and my heart would race. My imagination would run wild, causing me to think of every terrible scenario that could happen. Oh, wow. What did we just say? Just like me. Anyways, causing me to think of every terrible scenario that could happen. And I would sweat so much that sometimes I would have to take a shower in the middle of the night. My doctor explained it to me in a way that compared it to someone with arachnophobia, a fear of spiders, the same way they see a spider and panic uncontrollably. It was the same thing that happened to me when I would try and go to sleep. Wait, oops. So yeah, I just didn't start the story. This just sounds like me. What a coincidence. Oh my god. I tried everything from nighttime yoga, deep breathing exercises, a new bed, medication, and even started to get a little dependent on narcotics. I used anything at my disposal to counter my irrational fear of going to sleep. Now let me be clear. I was never a drug user, never smoked or drank or popped pills to get high, but when I started using drugs to help me sleep, I knew that something seriously needed to be done before it spiraled into something worse. I talked to a lot of online forums where people like me would connect and try to see that we're not alone. It helps having people to talk to who understand that insomnia isn't watching TV at night instead of sleeping. It's not staying up late on your phone and being restless. Insomnia is a condition. As I scanned the sleepless forum, looking for some internet friends I had made, I stumbled across a post with an interesting title. It read, I found the cure for insomnia. Usually, when I saw something like this, it was some sort of sponsored ad, generally some bot trying to sell us pills or something. But seeing as though the alternative was to get into bed and have a panic attack, I clicked on the thread and began to read. The original poster, or OP, had this to say. I have found the cure for insomnia. I've slept perfectly every night since I've downloaded the app. It's called Sounds Like Sleep, created by a company called Dream Systems. OP went on to describe their experience with the app and how quickly it worked. I scanned down to see several regulars commenting and saying they downloaded the app and couldn't wait to try it. Others only had positive things to say about the app. So I downloaded the app as well. I keep a Bluetooth speaker in my bedroom, usually just to play some soft music while I cleaned or as a distraction from the insomnia. I made sure not to check the clock, as I found out early on that doing so would only make me panic more about how badly I needed to fall asleep, which would make me awake longer. Insomnia is a cruel condition. I opened the app, which greeted me with a soft animation of a cartoony robot getting into bed. The app had several options: rainy nights, the beach of dreams, white noise, and soothing sounds. I'd always had a fondness for storms, so I tried rainy nights. The volume was perfect. Not too loud to draw my attention, but just loud enough to block out any other sounds. I sat on the edge of the bed and reached for my nightly anti-anxiety medication. The sounds of the wind and rain washed over me, and surprisingly, I was already feeling tired. Without taking the medication, I laid back and rested my head on the pillow. As always, my heartbeat picked up. I felt my face get hot, and I braced myself for the coming dread. I took a deep breath, held it for a count of 5, and then exhaled. A low thunder crawled across the room from my bed to my speaker. Leaves rustled and the rain picked up just slightly. I felt my heart return to normal and my face no longer felt hot. Not daring to disturb the effects, I closed my eyes without even getting under the blankets and fell instantly asleep. I woke up more refreshed than I had felt in years. I nearly sprang out of bed. I grabbed my phone and checked the time. It was 7 on the dot. I had no idea when I had finally gone to sleep, but it was late, and yet I felt amazing. I went about my day like it was any other, only I was happy. I was energized, and to my surprise, the general anxiety that would often plague me didn't show its ugly face even once. Truthfully, I was looking forward to bedtime, just to try the app again. The night, I took the time to get under the covers. I set the app and this time chose the beach of dreams. As the waves began to crash gently, I closed my eyes, still expecting the wave of panic to begin. When it didn't, I sighed relief and almost felt tears begin to form. I had been a slave to insomnia for years, and now, with just the sleep sounds from this app, I truly felt cured. Before I knew it, I was asleep. The next morning, I woke up even more refreshed. I checked my phone. It was, again, 7 on the dot. I went through my daily routine with such a pep in my step that people even commented on how happy I was. When it was time for bed, I again set the app, this time to white noise, and got into bed furiously. I was asleep in seconds. When I awoke this time, I felt exhausted, like I had just run a marathon all night. I groggily sat up without looking. I knew it was 7 in the morning. I went about my day, not quite as peppy as I had been the previous day, but it was still better than before, when I couldn't sleep at all. I felt odd all day. I knew I'd slept, but I felt like I had dreamed I was awake or something. When I got into bed that night, I selected soothing sounds from the app and closed my eyes. Again, I fell asleep in no time. I awoke in such a panic that I thought I was having a midnight panic attack, something that was common for people with anxiety and insomnia. My eyes searched the room. I don't know, but how? But I felt like something was in the room with me. Left to right, I looked. The room was empty. I looked again. There it was, crouched at the foot of my bed with both hands on the blankets, as if it had just climbed out from underneath my bed. I saw it. Its hair hung over its face, but when it saw me looking at it, it froze. We were both frozen. I wanted to jump up. I wanted to kick and scream. I tried to, but my body was locked, stiff as a board. I could not even get close. I could not even close my hand into a fist. I screamed internally at this thing at the foot of my bed. The only thing in my entire bed that could move were my eyes. The thing cocked its head side to side. It didn't make a sound, but I knew that somehow it realized I couldn't move. I couldn't fight it. I heard of sleep paralysis before. It's a state where your body is still asleep even after you wake up. It usually lasts only a moment or two while your brain tries to comprehend that you're both asleep and awake. I remembered reading that victims would sometimes hallucinate that evil things were in their rooms because when we're paralyzed like this, we begin to panic and manifest images of evil things that wanted to hurt us. This was a hallucination. This was a hallucination. My heart was thundering in my chest. I focused all of my energy into just moving a finger. I thought that if I could move one finger, then the rest of my body would follow. It was no use. I was trapped in my bed. The thing knew this. It pressed down on the bed with both hands and dragged its body higher up the bed. Its long hair still covering its face. I felt the pressure on the bed as it pushed down with both hands. It was almost over me now. I screamed, and not a sound escaped my closed mouth. I could feel its hair on my face. I slammed my eyes closed, and the sounds of the app filled my ears. I fell asleep instantly. When I woke up, it was with a gasp. I shot upright in my bed and I looked around the room. Nothing. Empty, just the light from the sun pouring in through the window. I exhaled a deep sigh of relief and went about my day. That night, I turned the app on. I chose soothing sounds again. No particular reason. I turned it on and got into bed. Like each night before, I was asleep in a matter of seconds, but my sleep didn't last long. Again, I woke up in a panic. My eyes shot open, and I searched the room once more. Again, I felt my body locked to the bed. Sleep paralysis had me again. If it could, I'm sure my lip would have trembled in fear. As I slowly looked down to the foot of my bed, it wasn't there. The long-haired thing that had crawled up out of my bed last night, it wasn't there. I exhaled through my nose and looked at the ceiling. It was above me, holding onto the ceiling like a lizard, its long hair hanging inches above my face. I felt the muscles in my body tighten. I had never wanted to scream more than I did that night. With this thing over me, I could only inhale and exhale, unable to lift even a finger. I forced myself to breathe slower. I didn't want to alert it that I was awake. The sounds of my breathing slowed, and when I heard it, not from the creature clinging to the ceiling, but from the Bluetooth speaker that projected the soothing sounds of the app. "Come out," a voice whispered through the speaker. "Come out, sweet mother, and feast while it slumbers." The voice was so faint I had to be imagining it as well. "Come out and feed." As if the creature had waited for this command, it began to move. Not its body, no, but I could see the hair moving. It had first faced the ceiling, but now, above me, I watched as it was tilting its head back to look down at me. It kept tilting, extending further and further until it was further than humanly possible. The hair swaying as this thing whose body clung to the ceiling and back was to me. It now faced me. White eyes and razor-sharp teeth. It had tilted so far back that it was looking directly at me. If I could have, I would have screamed up until my lungs gave out. But I couldn't. My eyes rolled back, and I did the only thing I could to. I fell back asleep, lulled there by the soothing sounds. I woke up at 7 this morning. I again felt weak, like I had worked out for the entirety of the night. Every one of my muscles were sore. I slowly got out of bed and went about my day. My day was uneventful. I felt tired for most of it. I didn't turn the app on while I got into bed. I was hesitant, but I had to know. I stepped out of bed about 30 minutes ago and turned the app on. I listened for a while. I'd started to feel sleepy, but since I was standing up and out of bed, I was able to fight the sleep. 20 minutes in, I heard a voice, faintly over the sounds of the rainstorm. Come out, oh sweet mother, and feast while it slumbers." Wow, as somebody who uses sleep sounds, oh boy. Top comment: "Hey OP, if you still want to use the app, try screen recording the first 10 minutes of the sounds before the voice comes out, and then play that on loop. It might not be as soothing, but it'll still work and keep the thing away." Do you guys use sleep sounds? I do fall asleep to some streams sometimes, and I use ocean sounds a lot. I miss the ocean, so I always use ocean sounds and stuff to listen to it in the background, and it's nice. But after this, oh my god, another top comment: "Good thing I fall asleep to Game Grumps. I'm 99% sure Danny and Aaron are evil sleep monsters." Any of you guys falling asleep to me? I would like to reassure that I am not a evil sleep monster. Or maybe that's just what an evil sleep monster would want you to think. Alright, our next story. 11 bodies hanging from 21 trees. Okay, this is our last one for tonight. If you guys would like to suggest any more, I'm down to read maybe a couple more. I guess. Yeah. We'll see how it goes, but yeah, have to either some commentary or stories on how to sleep with silence. Yeah, right. White noise. I feel like even something. I don't know. Music. I used to listen to a lot of music when I was going to sleep as a kid, even, or else I feel like I would get nightmares. I used to get a lot of nightmares when I was a kid, and I feel like listening to music or listening to the radio always helped. There was this one dude on the radio growing up. It was like a Hong Kong radio, but he played a lot of very soothing music, and a lot of that music now I hold very dearly to my heart. But it was really nice thinking back about how soothing his voice is. Really soothing as well. He's like, I think he's like 80 something now, and yeah, I always fell asleep listening to that radio, which is really nice. And reading this kind of made me think, I wonder if part of that influenced me into wanting to become a streamer, you know? This is essentially radio, right? I mean, this stream genuinely is basically radio, because I'm just talking to you guys. And most of it, I'm just telling stories. That guy is still active on Hong Kong radio, I think, and on Wednesday evenings at 6 p.m., I think he tells horror stories that people submit. And actually, yeah, I think it's him. He does the horror stories, and I used to listen to it with my mom or dad, whoever was driving me home, I guess, while stuck in traffic. And yeah, it was very soothing, even though there were, horror stories. Some more people would suggest some more, but I guess just don't usually, it seems. That's okay. I feel like this is good, because then I get to read all of your suggestions, you know? We've already been streaming for like 2 hours, and we've read like a decent amount of creepypastas. I might like pick some as well, like 1 or 2 more, and then I think that is probably good, you know? 11 bodies hanging from 21 trees. Alright, are you guys ready? Look at all these mountains and the pixelated mountains in the background. Yeah, 11 bodies hanging from 21 trees. Can a mod please pin this new message? This is the, oh wait, actually, hold on. Currently reading creepypasta. Why is it called creepypasta? Do you guys know? Like, I remember learning about the term creepypasta. Thank you. And thinking that, I was like, what? This is what people on the internet call horror stories? Why is it creepypasta? I still don't know, but I wonder why. Alright. Let us continue. 11 bodies hanging from 21 trees. The top half of Councilman Jones's body hung by a steel cable, looped around his neck, and tied off to the old oak tree on one end. It was still dripping blood, bones and veins, and torn bits of intestines dangling down where the legs should start. The cable was stretched through the air, over to an ash tree 10 yards away, where the other half of the body was hanging by the legs. I have seen some gruesome shit before, but that right there took the cake. Davis, my partner, came out of the Joneses' house, still looking pale from when he was sick before. What'd she say? I asked. Said they were inside eating dinner, and they started hearing this phone ringing, coming from outside. Thought they had a guest, you know? Someone walking up to the door, getting a call. So they waited for a knock, but it didn't come, just more ringing. So Johnny goes and peeks out the door, but nobody's there and the ringing doesn't stop. I shone my flashlight around the base of the oak tree and spotted the cell phone, covered in blood. There was a Glock right there next to it. He thought they had an intruder and got his gun. I said, "That's right, LT. That's just what happened. Got his gun, shouted it out the door. The ringing just kept going on and on." She watched him from the window. Davis turned and pointed. "That one right there." Saw him look around, and then he bent down and picked up the phone off the ground. He looked around again and then answered it. Look, Davis, he didn't look good. "Go on," I said. "Well, that's when it happened. It just sort of tore apart, and then he was up in those trees." Davis just looked up at the top half of the body again. He really shouldn't have done that. I waited for him to finish being sick. This type of death is like no yeah, not spoilers, but mouth washing. Where did I end off? Where did I end off? BRB, okay. An intruder got his gun. Well, that's what happened. He just sort of tore apart and was up in those trees. Yeah, he shouldn't have done that. I waited for him to finish being sick. That doesn't make sense. That's all she saw? She didn't see anyone else? Nope, said Davis, wiping off his chin. I searched the area with my flashlight, shining it over the blood-stained grass, and then up the ash tree. There was something sticking out the side of the tree, with a length of slackened cable hanging down out of it. What the hell is that? I asked. Davis squinted and opened his mouth to respond. That's when the call came over the radio about the second body. It was the strangest case anybody at the station had ever heard of, let alone seen firsthand. 10 bodies in 20 trees? All of the murders occurring within an hour of each other. Each one happened the same way. The phone call, the victim answering it, then the body being torn apart and hung up between 2 trees an instant later. The only thing we had were the cell phones and the 10 strange devices that had been sticking out of the trees. The cell phones were all burners, as was the numbers that had all called them, and were dead ends. The device, as it turned out, after consulting several experts, appeared to be a hydraulic tensioner of some clever and unpatented design. As best we could determine, the tensioner had been somehow used to pull the steel cable very taut very quickly, though nobody could figure out how to activate it. I suggested that the tensioner might have been activated remotely. Initially, my official theory had been that the phone call was merely a tactic to lure the victim outside. When I asked the experts if it was possible that somehow the phone had triggered the device, they agreed it was possible. Judging by the blood and bits of tissue embedded in the wires of the cable at a certain location, it was determined that the cable itself had been somehow used to sever the victim's body. All of the murdered men were prominent members of the community in good standing. Businessmen, politicians, a pastor. We still didn't have any suspects after running all the forensics and thoroughly interviewing everyone who even remotely knew the victims, which ended up being most of the town. For a long time, the interviews led nowhere. But as I dug deeper, asking more probing questions, a suspicion started growing in me. My witnesses weren't telling me the full story. I had no doubt that they were telling the full truth about what they saw on the night of the murders, but they were holding something back. For a long time, it was when I was trying to draw a connection between the victims. Sure, the spouses would say again and again they all knew each other. Everybody in this town knows everyone else. Some of them play poker together once a month, some of them played golf together occasionally, etc., but there was no overarching connection they could think of, and certainly nothing that would make somebody want to kill them. But there was an overarching connection, I knew for a fact, and the more I talked to the first-hand witnesses, as well as many of the people around town, it became clear to me that everyone else knew what it was too. Alright, BK, have a good lurk. It's okay if you BRB, don't worry about it. You don't need to tell me. It's okay. Like, I don't want you to feel pressure to stay. And Uraiwe, have a good lurk. Alright. I think I gotta get out of this place, I said over the phone to my brother. He had been in the middle of preparing a lecture for his advanced engineering class at a prominent university, and I felt bad for interrupting him, but I needed someone to talk to. I've been telling you that for years, said my brother. I thought this would end it, I said. I dug into the cardboard box that I'd found in the basement of the church where they held their meetings. My brother sighed. You know better than that. You know the problem's deeper than 10 men. That's just a tumor, bubbling up out of the skin. You can cut that away, but the cancer's still there. I pulled a white hood out of the box, held it up in disgust, and threw it into the fireplace. Yeah, I guess I always knew that. Still felt good, though. Oh, I see. Yes, said my brother, for Granddaddy. For Granddaddy, I said. I hadn't even been born when they lynched him, but it was just an injustice that burned in my heart every day of my life since I had found out about it. So you're gonna move? You don't think that would look suspicious? I laughed. Brother, after your magic show, these yokels will be scratching their head for 1,000 years and still not have gotten the first clue of how it happened or who did it. You know, maybe if I'd gotten more of my mom's skin tone instead of dad's, I'd be more worried. Just promise you'll be careful. Sure, I said. I see what happened. The overarching connection. And I was careful. I was as careful as I was when I practiced on those mannequins for 5 patient years. As careful as I was when I drove those 3 states over to purchase them. As careful as I was when I measured out the length of steel to the exact millimeter that my brother had specified. The loops made in exact locations. The tensioning device set to the exact PSI. The phone set in the exact center of the center loop. I had begun to think that it wasn't possible, until the day I'd finally got it right. I tied one end of the cable to one tree and brought it down the slack. One small loop for the legs, another one to catch the neck, and the big one in the middle, tucked through the slip knot. Then I fed the other end of the slack cable through the hole I drilled in the other tree, and finally through the hole of the tensioner. I called one burner from another, and then I answered it, well out of the path of the cable. Heard the soft click of the tensioner, now activated by the tone coming from the phone, and then whoosh. It happened too fast to see, but I knew it was happening. First loop on the left pulled back around the legs, beginning to lift the mannequin into the air. The big loop slid through the slip knot and tightened as my body fell into it. The loop closed around the body with such force that the sharp wires sliced it neatly into 2. Then the other loop caught the neck of the now separated top half of the body. After the wire pulled fully taut, one half of the mannequin hung suspended in air near one tree, and the other half hung near the other. The first success had come after 3 years of failure. I spent the next 2 years perfecting the process until I was able to get it right 10 times out of 10, adjusting each time for different distances between the trees and its different sized bodies. I was careful, all right. I was carrying the last of the boxes from my desk to my car when Davis caught up to me in the parking lot. He was out of breath. LT, he said, gasping. I guess this is it. Can I convince you to stay? Nope, I said. New job starts Monday. Gotta hit the road. Oh, well, wanted you to know. It's been an honor serving under you. I've learned so much. I smiled. You're a good detective, Davis. Someday you'll run this place. I hope I do, said Davis, laughing. Illustrating this down right out. Oh, I said. Yeah, this place is a little behind the times, if you know what I mean. And then Davis called me by my mother's maiden name. I set the box on the hood of my car. My heart pounding. You know. Did a little digging, said Davis. You were careful. Amazingly, mind-blowingly careful, but not quite careful enough. Did you have any evidence? I asked, just sweat chilling my forehead in the cool winter air. Plenty, said Davis. Enough to kindle a good fire anyway, he winked at me. You're not gonna tell anyone? Nah, said Davis. Can't say I approve, can't say those guys weren't evil assholes either. I just gotta know, though. How the hell did you do it, exactly? A lot of practice, I said. All those mannequins, huh? That's right, I said, stuffing that last box into the trunk. We'll stay in touch now. Ever catch a tough one, I might give you a call, huh? You don't need me, I said. But yeah, I'll keep in touch, Davis. Thank you. Don't mention it. We shook hands, and then I got in my car and drove off. Ooh. Pretty good. Good guy, Davis. This is like, yeah, wow. I feel like this was like a really, really intense in the beginning with the dead bodies and the description of how just violent it was. But I feel like that was our first like nice ending, I guess. I'm just in bed right now, just woke up. Hello, we're going through some creepy stories. That was actually our last one. Actually, no, one more. 70% of above is true. I mean 100%, so it's creepy. Okay. Alright. Let us read another creepypasta. Can I unpin this top message? Don't read that one. Whoever wrote it did it in like 30 minutes without thinking. What? Should I not read it? The first body has to be his grandfather. Yeah, right. It's gonna chill again and have fun. Alright. It's a dork. Well, too bad. I'm sure most of these creepypasta authors are dorks, you know? Have a good lurk. Alright, I think this will be our last story for the night, and then we'll call it. I think it'll be like kind of a short stream today, but I think the vibes were good, you know? Alright. Hi guys. I'm not sure where to post this, but please don't delete it. I know it sounds funny, but I promise you it's true. Oh, should I read this with an Australian accent? I'm just kidding. I do have an old class. Okay, maybe we'll do one more after this if you have a good suggestion. But my throat has been kind of rough this week, and we're doing some Christmas karaoke tomorrow, which in my head I'm like, this is it. I was planning for Christmas. I only wanted to sing Christmas music for like 2 hours, but we all know it's gonna be like minimum 4 hours. So yeah. Your accent work is cute. Just because you said that, I'm never doing an accent ever again. I'm never doing an accent ever again. I know it sounds funny, but I promise you it's true. I live up in this rural area. It's all bush and trees and shit. And I'm getting home from work last night, and wait, why can't I? Why is it like? How come when I'm expanding this? Okay. Sorry, some of the words were cut off. Let me just download it really quick. I was trying to read it in the Discord. I don't know why I was like having some words cut off. Okay. Alright. Yeah, downloaded the Spitfire virus. Alright. Let's start over. Hi guys. Not sure where to post this, but please don't delete it. I know it sounds funny, but I promise you it's true. I live up in this rural area. It's all bushes and trees and shit. And I'm getting home from work last night, and you gotta understand, it's dark as fuck out here because we live in the valley. The second it hits 4 p.m., it's like, bam, lights out. And you know how work goes longer than 4 p.m. Anyway, so I get off the train, but it's dark, like real dark. Like, if there's someone in front of your face, you couldn't tell. There's no lights at the station, there's no street lights on outside. It's pitch black, like there's a blackout, which I guess isn't the weirdest thing but it's just never happened before, trust me. That said, train's already left and I'm by myself again, not weird. It's just a rural station and I'm the only one who gets off here, but it's incredibly quiet. Another night I might have called out or shouted or sung a song or talked through some imaginary argument with a customer, but I held quiet. I don't know why. There's this long road that you have to go down to get to my place. It's narrow and basically only lets one car down at a time. It's always a little bit sketchy walking down it, and for a moment I worry about getting hit. But of course they turn their headlights on if they drove me down here. Or if they drove down here. So I walk on, vague hints of shadow shifting as I pass by. Can I get this text to not do this? As I pass by... I'm trying not to like... It's like scrolling. I have to scroll it like side by side, sorry. It's middle of the winter right now, but I don't have a scarf or anything like that, so I'm kind of hunching my shoulders type of thing as I shuffle down the road. So maybe it takes a bit longer than you'd expect. Notice the slight, like sparks, growing bigger as I get down the road. And I get so invested in what these sparks are that I guess I don't notice until it's too late, as this thing hits me in the chest hard. Whoa, buddy, you can't go this way. There's this man who stopped me. I can't see a damn thing, so I don't know how he saw me, but his hand is on my chest, and it's real, and his voice is loud in my ear. The power lines are down, and you're gonna have to head back. I guess that was what was sparking over there. I thought about asking him if there wasn't room to head along the side, but of course he'd say no. Road's so narrow, whatever fire truck or whatever they've got there probably barely fits there to begin with, let alone with arcing electricity and shit. So halfway home, I turned to him. There's the dark, the quiet, and me. I'm a bit confused about why the men, I assume it wasn't just one guy, right, are apparently working in the dark, and whether they shouldn't be making some noise. But I'm not about to turn back around and risk pissing this guy off or, getting electrocuted. So I make my way back, and the station is there. I feel it more than I see it. The trees are tall and cover much of the sky, but as I get to the station's center, the canopy opens up and the little bits of moonlight get through. I'm standing on a bridge, open to air, overlooking the tracks below. No train has come through since mine, which is weird, since they're supposed to travel both ways. But it's also not weird at all. The train service is shit. Halloween in January, indeed. Yeah, how do I make the text wrap? Oh, word wrap. Oh. It was that simple. Okay, make my way back. The station... I reflect on the quiet scene. Tracks rusted over silvery in the... over seemingly silvery in the isolated pool of light in the extreme dark. I feel proud of myself. I used to be scared of the dark. Now I can get all brooding and pensive. Very poetic. The other way out of the dead end is that the station is on the other side of the bridge. A mountain trail that wraps to a separate side road, and that onto the main road where my place is. It's not much of a hike, but it does take the breath out of me. I need to do more cardio. The trail tracks along the railway, but it's like 20 meters up. It goes up for a while, then down. That's a cruel joke, so you gotta have a steep up part in either direction. From there, it's a blind corner, and I've bumped into hikers there before running down the slope. I ain't running in the dark, though. There's a sound around the corner, and I stop cold. Let's go. Now that I've been in this spot before, blackout or not, this trail is always dark. There's no lights out there, and like a week or two before, there was this sound right there, like grunting, but almost like something big moving in the grass. Well, that night, I turned my phone flashlight on. It was a deer, big fucking deer, caught badly in the fence, which was shocking, honestly, because I didn't even know we had deer in this area. I got around the deer and called animal control, and they told me to call the police because they couldn't handle deer. Anyway, I gave them the nearest road and headed back to the deer, wanting to check on it, and it was quiet. The fence was empty, no deer to be found. A bit of blood was left where the deer had been stuck. I touched it. It came off easily, proving it was fresh from the deer. I called the police back and told them that it looked like the deer had freed itself, but that it might be a bit hurt. The guy on the other end said thanks, and they wouldn't come out. I'd have thought that they should have started to come out already by then, but whatever. It's a deer, I get it, not really top priority. But that was then, and this was something else. No grunting, just movement. Now, I don't have to tell you that it's creepy to be confronted with something in the dark, but the experience with deer told me that it'd be fine. I swung my phone around and turned the flashlight on, and I saw nothing. Just the fence, now clean of any deer, or of any fur or blood or whatever, shiny and new. Except, it wasn't scary. There was something else going on. Like I was viewing the scene through a bubble, but not inverted like that. Just like a sheen of light covering up half the scene. Scary, very scary. I rubbed at my eye, but it didn't go away. I swung my phone over the way I'd just come from, and the blur was gone. Back to the fence, and there it was again. So it was there. I moved around to the right, just like with the deer the time before. Maybe it was a weird reflection? And it does shift. It moves as I pass my light around it. But it was still there, like it was anchored in place between me and the fence, some trick of light unique to this spot. It reminds me of the light across the rail tracks. Before I can do anything else, there's this crack as the branch snaps, right there, from right in front of me. And look, I just about jumped out of my skin because it was so real, so close. I peered down and there it was, a branch snapped in two. And as I shone my light down to look at it, I noticed something else. The grass. It's shifting, pointing towards me, all in a row. And then the grass closer to me, too. From just, grass to leaning towards me, to pointing, to lying flat. And the grass beyond that, and another twig that snapped, just as sudden, just as loud. I'll be so for real, I ran. I ran all the way down the trail, towards the road, towards home. I can't tell you the relief I felt when the lights came into view, left on by my housemate. I glanced down the road towards the way I normally walked home, where the lights were all out. They were on. No sign of any truck or any man or anything else. As I approached the door, I slowed down and gathered myself. No need to look like a loser. I chilled out, had dinner, and forgot to set my alarm, so I slept in this morning. The house was empty, and I was rushing out the door. I had to get to the station. Now, you can go the way everyone goes, down the main road where the power went out last night, or you can go the jogging route, which is quicker but more tiring. I didn't have a chance if I wanted to make the train on time, and the next one wouldn't be for like 50 minutes, so I ran down the path, forgetting the night before in the rush. I hadn't even showered. Now we're here. I'm at the end of the road, and there's this light, this shiny, shimmery thing in the sunlight, pushing down on the grass as it slides noiselessly towards me. It's invisible, but it warps direct sunlight, and it's slow. Real slow, but it's like 100 meters from where it was last night. I tried standing to the side of it, and it changed direction. I'm being followed. It's following me. I know it. And I can't tell anyone. Don't tell me to call the cops. That voice in the dark, that one that stopped me and told me to go down this trail. I didn't recognize it then. Startled in the dark, but I heard it before. At the police station. Telling me that they'd take care of the deer. And to just go home. I'm sure it was the same guy. And the lights were on at my place, but not along the one road out of the station, where only one person was getting off. It's all too convenient. If anyone knows what this could be, please let me know. I've tried taking pictures of this thing, but it just doesn't show up right on camera. I mean, it's fucking see-through, you know? If anyone is in the area and can help or has a place to stay, please reach out. I can't stay another night near this thing. Ooh, pretty good, pretty good. Whoa. I like this one. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the creepy deer episode from Adventure Time, but also cross with have you seen Nope? It's the fucking invisible immortal snail. It also kind of reminds me of, you know that stupid YouTube video where this dude is being hunted by some dude who tries to kill him with a spoon. And he follows him no matter where he goes, and even though it takes a terribly long time, he tries to kill him with a spoon. But I like this one. This one was good. Alright. Let us end with an old classic. Wrote it just now. Very impressive, honestly. I really like that. How are you inspired so fast? You should post it on creepypasta or r/nosleep. Can some mod help me pin this, please? Is this a haunted shuckle? Haunted by Umi, perhaps? Because, like I said, it's a true story. Oh, from a few years back. Oh, you did? You said 70% of it was real. You should post it. You should post it on r/nosleep. 100%. I believe you. I believe you, actually. I mean, I feel like I've had weird shit happen to me before. Enough that I would believe in other people telling me about weird stuff happening, you know? Since I'm moving soon. Because of the fucking invisible snail? It's after you. Okay, I'm gonna pee really quick. And I'll be back. Yes, can a mod help me pin my message really quick? I'm gonna pee and I will be back. We'll read our last story and I think that'll be it for the night for creepy stories, maybe. It was this one time I was on a train platform by myself and the next train isn't for 26 minutes. I'm staring at my phone. Wait, okay, I will read your messages when I come back from peeing. I need to grab my pee pals and pee. I'll be back. TikTok. Hello. How you doing? Party Boy 25. Nice to meet you. My name's Umi. We're reading some creepypastas right now. Currently reading Russian Sleep Experiment. We haven't started yet, but let me read some of these messages. It's like, I just got back from my pee break. I did pick up my my pee pals, which is my cat. My cat loves to watch me pee. It's his favorite hobby. Will not leave me alone, and will yell if I close the door. Alright, let me see. I was on the train platform by myself, and the next train isn't for 26 minutes. I'm staring at my phone, and then 5 minutes pass, and I turn around. There's this fucking train right in front of my face, creeping towards me at like a centimeter a second. I jump out of my soul. How does a train sneak up on me? Huh. Creepy. I just saw your unintelligent life form video. Okay, it was artificial intelligence, and it was genuine stupidity. Did you just call me an unintelligent life form? Excuse me? Excuse me. Oh, but yeah, that's me for real. The only part of AI. That's the only part of me that's AI. Alright. I'm sorry, I'm just kidding. You can't take me too seriously. You can't let a VTuber bully you. Alright. If anybody, again, wants me to read any more creepypastas, please drop it in the Discord. If you guys join the Discord, make sure you accept the rules, and you'll be able to see all the other channels. It's under suggestions, under creepypasta suggestions. Alright, the Russian Sleep Experiment. This is actually one of my favorites, so I'm glad you suggested it, Esper. Let me see how long. Okay. Alright. Last time someone told me to send them a copy pasta, it was the B movie script. The true horror. The true what did I see recently? Oh my god, I saw this TikTok recently. Okay, sorry, before we start. I saw this TikTok recently. There was this guy doing voice impressions, and he was pretending to be Victor from Arcane. And he was pretending to be the disease dude. Oh, thank you for the follow, party boy. He was pretending to be the disease dude. And he was like, Victor, like, please save me, or whatever. And then Victor's like, I'm going to beam the entirety of the B movie into your head. And he's like, what? The B movie? And he beams it into his head. And he's like, I've been enlightened. But I can't believe she left him for a bee? She left? I know, that's fucking insane. Okay, I need to find this TikTok because I sound like an insane person, and then I'm gonna drop it into Discord so you guys don't think I'm an insane person. But anyways, Russian Sleep Experiment. According to all known laws of aviation, there's no way a bee should be able to fly. Its wings are too small to get its fat little... I'm just kidding. Alright. Hello. RL, I was just saying, I brought my pee buddy with me, so I'm safe, you know, from all the creepypasta monsters. My cat loves it. Loves to watch me pee. What a little freak. Anyway, Russian Sleep Experiment. Widely regarded as one of the most popular and... this is overview. Okay, we're skipping this. Okay. Russian researchers in the late 1940s kept 5 people awake for 15 days using an experimental gas-based stimulant. They were kept in a sealed environment to carefully monitor their oxygen intake so the gas didn't kill them, since it was toxic in high concentrations. This is before closed-circuit cameras, so they had only microphones and 5-inch thick glass porthole-sized windows into the chamber to monitor them. The The chamber was stocked with books, cots to sleep on, but no bedding, running water, and toilets. And enough dried food to last all 5 of them for over a month. The test subjects were political prisoners deemed enemies of the state during World War II. Everything was fine for the first 5 days. The subjects hardly complained after being been promised, falsely, that they would be freed if they had submitted to the test and not sleep for 30 days. Their conversations and activities were monitored, and it was noted that they continued to talk about increasingly traumatic incidents in their past, and the general tone of their conversations took on a darker aspect after the 4-day mark. After 5 days, they started to complain about the circumstances and events that led them to where they were, and started to demonstrate severe paranoia. Just Eric, thank you for the follow. Welcome, welcome. We're currently reading The Russian Sleep Experiment. So far, it just sounds like a regular Mr. Beast challenge, which is insane, by the way. Okay, we're not gonna dive into this. We'll dive into this after I finish reading the story. They stopped talking to each other and began alternately whispering to the microphones and one-way mirrored portholes. Oddly, they all seemed to think that they could win the trust of the experimenters by turning over their comrades, the other subjects, in captivity with them. At first, the researchers suspected this was an effect of the gas itself. After 9 days, the first of them started screaming. He ran the length of the chamber, repeatedly yelling at the top of his lungs for 3 hours straight. He continued, attempting to scream, but was only able to produce occasional squeaks. The researchers postulated that he had physically torn his vocal cords. The most surprising thing about this behavior is how the other captives reacted to it. Or rather, they didn't react to it. They continued whispering to the microphones until the second of the captives started to scream. The 2 non-screaming captives took the books apart, smeared page after page with their own feces, and pasted them calmly over the glass portholes. The screaming promptly stopped. So did the whispering to the microphones. After 3 more days passed, the researchers checked the microphones hourly to make sure they were working, since they thought it was impossible that no sound should be coming from with 5 people inside. The oxygen consumption in the chamber indicated that all 5 must still be alive. In fact, it was the amount of oxygen 5 people would consume at a very heavy level of strenuous exercise. The morning of the 14th day, the researchers did something they said they would not do to get a reaction from the captives. They used the intercom inside the chamber, hoping to provoke any response from the captives they were afraid were either dead or vegetables. I think you should play World of Horror. It's like Junji Ito means world-bound. Oh, sorry, earthbound. Oh, whoa. It's a horror detective RPG. Your vibes is reminding me of it. Is it a pixel-like RPG? That does sound like something that I would be interested in. World of Horror. I will have to check this out. Oh, wait, I have kind of seen... I have, like, kind of seen this in passing. Oh. This looks amazing. I started playing, Valhalla recently? And I think it was recommended. This was recommended in something that I was looking at. Maybe it was just Steam. It's really good, very story forward. Interesting. Okay, then maybe I'll have to play it on stream. Pixel RPG. Alright. Okay. What did they say? They announced, we're opening the chamber to test the microphones. Step away from the door and lie flat on the floor or you will be shot. Compliance will earn one of you your immediate freedom. To their surprise, I heard a single phrase in a calm voice response. We no longer want to be freed. Debate broke out among the researchers and the military forces funding the research. Unable to provoke any more response using the intercom, it was finally decided to open the chamber at midnight on the 15th day. The chamber was flushed out of the stimulant gas and filled with fresh air, and immediately voices from the microphones began to object. 3 different voices began begging, as if pleading, for the life of their loved ones, to turn the gas back on. The chamber was opened and the soldiers sent in to retrieve the test subjects. They began to scream louder than ever, and so did the soldiers when they saw what was inside. 4 of the 5 subjects were still alive, though no one could rightly call the state that any of them were in life. The food rations past day 5 had not been so much as touched. There were chunks of meat from the dead test subjects' thighs and chest stuffed into the drain in the center of the chamber, blocking the drain and allowing 4 inches of water to accumulate on the floor. Precisely how much of the water on the floor was actually blood was never determined. All 4 surviving test subjects had also large portions of muscle and skin torn away from their bodies. The destruction of flesh and exposed bone on their fingertips indicated that the wounds were inflicted by hand, not with teeth, as the researchers initially thought. Closer examination of the position and the angles of the wounds indicated that most of them, or if not all of them, were self-inflicted. The abdominal organs below the ribcage of all 4 test subjects had been removed. While the heart, lungs, and diaphragm remained in place, the skin and most of the muscles attached to the ribs had been ripped off, exposing the lungs through the ribcage. All the blood vessels and organs remained intact. They had just been taken out and laid on the floor, fanning out around the eviscerated but still living bodies of the subjects. The digestive tract of all 4 could be seen to be working, digesting food. It quickly became apparent that they were digesting was their own flesh that they had ripped off and eaten over the course of days. Ooh. Oh, I forgot how nasty this one was. Oh. Most of the soldiers were Russian special operatives at the facility, but still many refused to return to the chamber to remove the test subjects. They continued to scream to be left in the chamber, and alternately begged and demanded that the gas be turned on, lest they fall asleep. To everyone's surprise, the subjects put up a fierce fight in the process of being removed from the chamber. One of the Russian soldiers died from having his throat ripped out. Another was gravely injured by having his testicles ripped off. Oh, and an artery in his leg severed by one of the subject's teeth. Another 5 of the soldiers lost their lives, if you count ones that committed suicide in the weeks following the incident. Oh, nasty. In the struggle of the 4 living subjects, had his spleen ruptured and he bled out almost immediately. The medical researchers attempted to sedate him, but this proved impossible. He was injected with more than 10 times the human dose of morphine derivative, but still fought like a cornered animal, breaking the ribs and arms of one doctor. One heart was seen to beat for a full 2 minutes after he was bled out, to the point where there was more air in his vascular system than blood. Even after it stopped, he continued to scream and flail for another 3 minutes, struggling to attack anyone in reach and just repeating the word more over and over, weaker and weaker, until he finally fell silent. The surviving 3 test subjects were heavily restrained and moved to a medical facility, the 2 with intact vocal cords continuously begging for gas, demanding to be kept awake. The most injured of the 3 was taken to the surgical operating room that the facility had. In the process of preparing the subject to have his organs placed back within his body, it was found that he was given effectively immune to the sedative that they had given him to prepare him for surgery. He fought furiously against his restraints when the anesthetic gas was brought out to put him under. He managed to tear most of his way through a 4-inch wide leather strap on one wrist, even though the weight of a 200-pound soldier was holding that wrist as well. It took only a little more anesthetic than normal to put him under, and the instant his eyelids fluttered and closed, his heart stopped. In the autopsy of the test subject that died on the operating table, it was found that his blood had tripled the normal level of oxygen. His muscles were still attached to his skeleton and were badly torn, and he had broken 9 bones in a struggle to not be subdued. Most of them were from the force of his own muscle had exerted on them. The second survivor had been the first of the group of the 5 to start screaming. His vocal cords destroyed, he was unable to beg or object to the surgery, and he only reacted by shaking his head violently in disapproval when the anesthetic gas was brought near him. He shook his head yes when someone suggested, reluctantly, that they try the surgery without anesthetic, and did not react for the entire 6-hour procedure of replacing his abdominal organs and attempting to cover them with what remained of his skin. The surgeon presiding stated repeatedly that it should be medically possible for the patient to still be alive. One terrified nurse assisting the surgery stated that she had seen the patient's mouth curl into a smile several times whenever his eyes met hers. When the surgery ended, the subject looked at the surgeon and began to wheeze loudly, attempting to talk while struggling. Assuming this must be something of drastic importance, the surgeon had a pen and pad fetched so the patient could write his message. It was simple: keep cutting. The other 2 test subjects were given the same surgery, both without anesthetic as well. Although they had to be injected with a paralytic for a duration of the operation, the surgeon found it impossible to perform the operation while the patients laughed continuously. Once paralyzed, the subjects could only follow the attending researchers with their eyes. The paralytic cleared their system in an abnormally short period of time, and they were soon trying to escape their bonds. The moment they could speak, they were once again asking for the stimulant gas. The researchers tried asking why they had injured themselves, why they had ripped out their own guts, and why they wanted to be given the gas again. Only one response was given: I must remain awake. All 3 test subjects' restraints were reinforced, and they were placed back into the chamber, awaiting determination as to what should be done with them. The researchers, facing the wrath of their military benefactors for having failed the stated goals of their project, considered euthanizing the surviving subjects. The commanding officer, a former KGB agent, instead saw potential and wanted to see what would happen if they were put back on the gas. The researchers strongly objected, but were overruled. In preparation for being sealed in the chamber again, the subjects were connected to an EEG monitor and had their restraints padded for a long-time confinement. To everyone's surprise, all 3 stopped struggling the moment it was let slip that they were going to be put back on the gas. It was obvious that at this point, all 3 were putting up a great struggle to stay awake. One of the subjects that could speak was humming loudly and continuously. The mute subject was straining his legs against the leather bonds with all his might, first left, then right, then left again, for something to focus on. The remaining subject was holding his head off his pillow and blinking repeatedly. Having been the first to be wired for EEG, most of the researchers were monitoring his brain waves in surprise. They were normal for most of the time, but sometimes flatlined inexplicably. It looked as if he were repeatedly suffering from brain death before returning back to normal. As they focused on paper scrolling out of the brainwave monitor, only one nurse saw his eyes slip shut at the same moment his head hit the pillow. His brainwaves immediately changed to that of a deep sleep, then flatlined for the last time as his heart simultaneously stopped. The only remaining subjects that could speak started screaming to be sealed in now. His brainwaves showed the same flat lines as one who had just died from falling asleep. The commander gave the order to seal the chamber with both subjects inside, as well as 3 researchers. One of the named 3 immediately drew his gun and shot the commander point blank between his eyes, then turned the gun on the mute subject and blew his brains out as well. He pointed the gun at the remaining subject, still restrained to the bed, as the remaining members of the medical and research team fled the room. "I won't be locked in here with these things, not with you," he screamed at the man strapped to the table. "What are you?" he demanded. I must know." The subject smiled. "Have you forgotten so easily?" the subject asked. "We are you. We are the madness that lurks within you, begging to be free at every moment in your deepest animal mind. We are what you hide from in your beds every night. We are what you sedate into silence and paralysis when you go to the nocturnal haven where we cannot tread." The researcher paused, then aimed at the subject's heart and fired. The EEG flatlined as the subject weakly choked out. "So nearly free." Wow. I also forgot how crazy this was. Damn. Interesting. It's kind of insane. Like, I think human experimental in generally super terrifying, but also I think humanity being the scariest thing, that is also kind of terrifying. You know, something deep within us, deep within people, also terrifying, like a buried fear, you know? A very good classic, The Russian Sleep Experiment. Hi, Zach. How you doing? Let me stretch. It's terrifying, like we're the monsters, right? But also, like, sleep deprivation is no joke, guys. You have to take care of yourselves. Like, people without food and water, you can still be okay, but sleep, you can't. Sleep is something else. Like, you just can't. You can't go on without sleep, guys. Like, it's really dangerous or really bad for your body, you know? Yeah. Alright, we have two more. It feels like I'm in an episode of Twilight Zone. Yeah! You digging the vibes? We're reading some creepypastas today. I'm doing well, how are you? We just finished reading The Russian Sleep Experiment. We have... oh, this background would have been good for The Russian Sleep Experiment. Damn. Alright, well, let me read 2 more. Let me open these. Okay. And let me send it into chat. Creepy pasta currently reading. Can somebody, some mod, help me pin it? Pin that message? Oh, you guys are so fast. Thank you. Interesting. I guess I'm in the mood to break some fear. Good. Alright. Are you ready for our next one? We've been reading some really good ones tonight. And I'm glad that you're feeling the creepiness with this vibe. Alright. The dangers of tattoos. Out of the 9 guys at Dylan's bachelor party, I'm the only one left alive. And I don't know how much time I have left. Dylan was a friend from my high school days. We weren't close, but we hung out when all of our other friends were busy. I was happy to hear he was getting hitched to his girl, Heather, and they were good for each other. He even asked me He even asked me to join him and a few other guys for drinks. I happily accepted. One last crazy night before he said I do. We'd all gotten pretty buzzed when Mickey threw out his brilliant idea. We should get tattoos! I'd never gotten a tattoo before, but I was probably one of the two guys who hadn't in the group. Mickey in particular was covered in ink, full sleeves on both arms, and he had proudly shown off the progress made on one of his ribs, the inked outline of a kraken. He and his artist were going to start putting in color in 2 months. Oh, damn. If you guys know tats, ribs, or anything over bone that is like really thin, so like your wrist, your spine, your ribs, your ankles, those places, if you get tats there, it will hurt like a bitch. Like, man, I know people who have like fainted from that pain or cried or passed out from that pain. I don't have any tattoos in any of those areas because nah. But also like I don't know, it's not really areas that I want tattoos in, but I can't imagine. But I do have quite a high pain tolerance. When I got my tattoo, I fell asleep. At least one of them just like fell asleep, and I was like, oop. Had my tattoo artist wake me up, and she's like, we're done. I'm like, oh shoot, sorry. How much to see tattoos? I have actually probably posted pictures where you guys can see some of my tattoos. Anyways, let us continue. Like I said, I've never been inked, but what the fuck? Oh my god, that scared me. Like I said, I'd never been inked, but I was in awe. And to my drunk brain, getting a tattoo with a guy sounded fantastic. And what do you know? Just down the street, there was a parlor. Drunk tattoos, this is not a good idea, guys. Unfortunately, they didn't just tattoo people who weren't they didn't tattoo people who weren't sober. That's good, that's smart. Wait, hold on. Let me set up. Okay. Then tattoo people who weren't sober. Where were we? The guy was incredibly patient, just... oh, fuck. Minecraft Halloween. I felt like this would be creepy, but not too creepy, you know? A good way to kind of end our creepy night, you know? Okay. Fortunately, they didn't tattoo people who weren't sober. Good. The guy was incredibly patient, just pointing to the sign and saying if we wanted to get a tattoo after our hangovers, he'd happily help us. The only one to get cranky about this was Derek. Mickey ended up dragging him out by the ear as the idiot cussed out the artist. Yeah, the artist said all of us would get inked if we wanted, except for Derek. Genius move, Derek. When we were all on the street again, talking about getting more drinks, that's when she just appeared. I didn't hear her walk up, although I'm not sure how. She had heels that could put out a man's eye. The only reason we even knew she was there was because she cleared her throat. I whipped around and she was like 2 inches behind me. Way too much in my personal space for me to be comfortable. You kind of look like Tweedledum and Tweedledee from Alice in Wonderland. Oh my god, I do. You're so right. It's because I put on glasses and I put on this cozy little blanket. I don't usually look like Tweedledee and Tweedledum's missing triplet, but I guess tonight, that's the vibes, you know. Also, Palabras, welcome in. Yeah, usually I don't have these glasses on and I don't have this blanket. Anyways, creepy girl who's clearing her throat. I yelped and slipped on some slush, landing on my ass. Everyone laughed, but she just sighed and helped me to my feet. She was wearing a puffy green coat and black skinny jeans, and even with her skin mostly covered, I could see ink on her neck. Half her head was shaved, and I could see 3 piercings in her exposed ear, not to mention the several on her face. Eyebrows, septum, lips, this girl had it all. So, Philip says you're too drunk? She grinned and chuckled pleasantly. I'm Lacey. Come on, I'll take you to my shop. I think you can work something out. She turned around and started walking down the street. Mickey whistled. She's so fucking hot, he murmured. You hear her though? Tattoo, man. Tattoos, man. Plans back in action. Derek whooped and took off down the street after her. Sober, I realized how sketchy this was, but drunk me was just excited to get a tattoo, so I followed the herd, like a moron. I mean, hey, drunk, hot girl shows up right behind you, scares the shit out of you. She's hot, you're drunk. We're gonna follow her, right? The girl led us down a few streets and took so many turns, there's no way I could find my way back. But finally, she led us down the side of a building and down a set of stairs to a metal door with one word stamped on it. Coven. Come on in, boys. She grinned and opened the door. It actually wasn't as sketchy looking inside. I expected no ceiling, maybe one of the chairs that reeked of mildew, but it was a legit tattoo shop. Pictures were all over the walls of the shop's previous works, and there was another woman with a fire truck red hair and huge gauges in her earlobes, texting away in one of the leather chairs. Hey Barb, we got customers. The woman shrugged off her coat and threw it on the rack, revealing that she was only wearing a tank top, and yeah, she was covered in ink. From the chin down was a myriad of pictures. Welcome back, BK. BK, feel free to leave whenever you need. Don't feel pressured to be here, especially when you're helping out and stuff. Don't worry about it. That's a crazy emote. That's a pretty good emote though. Damn, that's swipe. Alright, where's my tattooed hot girl? That wasn't as sketchy. Okay, Lacey. Barb got up and glanced over. So, y'all gonna be matching or? I glanced over at Dylan, who nodded. I'm getting married in 2 days, so we're just out partying, he said, trying to sound bold. Barb smirked. Cute. Alright, I'll take the bachelor. Lacey, mind taking the shrimpy guy? I think he's a fainter. She nodded at me and I was offended, but only at a moment for that because Lacey grabbed my hand and yanked me to the chair. She took a seat next to me and smiled. And I suppose she was quite pretty, but although I wasn't sure how old she was. It's gonna be fine, dude. Your first tattoo? She asked. I heard Barb talking with Dylan quietly about how he wanted what he wanted everyone to get. I nodded. Yeah, never really been into them, but why not? If I really regretted it, I'll just get it lasered away, I reasoned. Just remember to breathe. She looked up at Barb. Did he decide? Barb nodded and lifted a pick in the air of a symbol that looked like 2 triangles next to each other, with a dot in the middle. Lacey giggled. Oh, I love that choice. Alright, buddy, what do you want? Where do you want it? I chose my upper arm. After that, everything kind of blurs together. I don't even remember pain, I just remember stumbling out the door, feeling kind of nauseated, and trying to get an Uber. I woke up the next morning, my arm hurt like hell, and I had 15 missed calls from the guys last night, and 21 texts in the group chat. Although my head was pounding, I managed to make out the point. Dude, where the fuck is Mickey? His girlfriend said Mickey didn't make it home last night. Did any of you see where he went? Guys, there was an accident. Like 2 blocks from Coven, dude. Dude got pancaked by a semi-truck. What the fuck? It was Mickey. They literally cannot tell who it was. This guy was in pieces. Oh my god. Jesus Christ. My arm ached, and I didn't even know where to start with these texts. I popped some pain meds and called Dylan. He didn't answer, so I tried Derek. When there was no answer, I had a bad feeling starting to form in my stomach. Oh, they're messing with witches. This is not smart. None of these dudes are very smart. Why are you getting drunk and getting tattoos and then following hot witches so then they can tattoo whatever onto you? This ain't good. Also, I'm glad everything is good and safe. That's good, that's good. My window died. Oh, welcome back. Oh god. But well, Mickey's been crushed. He got killed in a horrific car accident. Yes, yes. There was no answer. I had a bad feeling starting to form in my stomach. After 2 more calls, I got a response from one of the guys I barely knew, Toby. He was Dylan's cousin and was just in the state for the wedding. Hey man, I'm so sorry for calling so early. I was cut off by Toby quite quickly. I was starting to think you fucking dropped off the edge of the earth, dude. Are you okay? I groaned. Maybe? Tattoo hurts, but that's normal, I think. Was the guy last night Mickey? I think they managed to ID him from some of the tattoos. I'm sorry, man. I know he was a friend. I didn't really know him, but God. I heard Toby quietly gag. From what I understand, he was just smashed. The driver said it was like an explosion. Guy's gonna need some therapy. Wedding's today. Are you gonna... Hell no. I felt 2 seconds from hurling. I don't want to upchuck on the bride, and I didn't really get an official invite. You have a good time. I hung up and ran to the toilet to puke my guts out. I swore I was never going to get that drunk again as I crawled back into bed with a sip bottle to sip water from. I woke up again about an hour later to my phone going off. I managed to grab it and answer it on the 4th ring. Hello, we fucked up. Holy shit, I think it would be sick again. Oh my god. Oh my god. I could barely recognize the voice as Derek. He sounded so hysterical. Yo, slow down. What the fuck happened? I said as I sat up. Dylan blew up. My immediate response was a snicker. What are you saying? Did he open his mouth to say I do and blew chunks all over Heather's face? No. I'm saying that Dylan opened his mouth to say I do and literally fucking exploded. I laughed again, though it was forced this time. Real funny, dude. What the fuck are you talking about? The next thing I heard was Dylan and how he started to sob, like legitimately bawl his eyes out. The bad feeling from earlier returned tenfold. He'd been complaining about his tattoo all morning. It was getting itchy, and Toby said it was healing, so just don't touch it. In the middle of the ceremony, he opened his mouth before, and his eyes just like bugged out, and he grabbed his chest, and that's all she wrote. It was like someone set off a bomb. Blood and guts just everywhere. Heather passed out. Toby took off running, and when I went to go and find him, it was the same thing. Blood everywhere. Oh my god, we're gonna fucking die. Those bitches put a curse on us or something. We're all gonna fucking die. I looked down at my arm and slowly peeled off the bandage covering my tattoo. It looked innocent enough. It was just a few simple black lines. I heard Derek gasp. I don't feel so good. It's getting really itchy. Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good. I heard a gurgle before Derek screamed, only to be cut off by a disturbingly wet splatter and the phone dropping to the ground. I ran to the bathroom to puke again. I tried calling all the other guys, only 2 picked up, Mark and Reese. Mark had been at the wedding and seen the whole damn thing. Reese had been sick in bed like I was and had slept through all the phone calls and texts. We agreed to meet at Reese's place. I sort of knew Mark. We had a single class together when we went to high school, but I only met Reese last night. I rolled up my sleeve to show off my tattoo, which had yet to itch, but every little twitch had me thinking, this is it. I'm gonna go kaboom. We all sat in Reese's kitchen while Reese was messing around with something on the counter. Mark legitimately whimpered as he showed off his tattoo on his chest. My blood ran cold when I realized the ink itself was starting to turn crimson. I think It's like a timer. The closer to red, the closer to... Oh god, we're so fucked, he said, running his hand through his hair. You're not gonna fucking die, Reese said, turning around. I yelped as I saw a knife in his hand. Jesus Christ, what are we doing with that? I asked. Not we. You two. Reese sighed as he pulled down the neck to his turtleneck to show off the damn tattoo. Listen, if it's the tattoo making us blow up, then just get rid of the tattoo. I don't know if I can skin my neck without actually killing myself, but you two stand a chance. He sat down and continued sharpening the kitchen knife. I'll help you first, Parker. You're probably scarred, but this means you won't be dead, right? I swallowed as I stared at the sharp knife before I shook my head. Shouldn't you do Mark first? I think we still have time, and I'll feel better if I fuck up on your arm than I would if I accidentally stabbed Mark in the chest. He gestured for my arm. Faster we do this, the faster it's over with. Give me your arm. This is Final Destination. I swallowed as I stared at the sharp knife before I shook my head. Oh wait. Jesus Christ. I felt time stop as I slowly offered my arm to this stone-faced guy. Reese positioned the knife just above the tattoo before the knife went down. The worst pain lit up every nerve on my arm and I screamed. Mark had to hold me down as Reese had to slice off my skin to keep me from accidentally punching Reese. It was like someone was burning me alive. I passed out during this time, and when I woke up I was surrounded by blood. Not my blood. Both Reese's and Mark's. Sometime when I was unconscious, they'd both blown up. It was like someone stuck them in a blender and then splattered them all over the walls. Even their clothes were in tiny little bits. And to make matters worse, the tattoo isn't gone. It's penetrated all the way through my muscle, my skin, even maybe my bones. I can't tell how much longer I have, but I'm not going out without a fight. I'm sharpening more knives. I got some vodka out of Reese's kitchen and I'm prepping myself for what I have to do. I'll probably die doing this, but I will definitely die if I don't do this. If the tattoo is on my arm, then I guess my arm will just have to go. Pretty good. Watch out. Yeah, maybe my tattoos are a ticking time bomb. I did get all of my tattoos done by hot girls. So, you know, maybe I've been cursed. That would make a lot of sense. If I had been cursed by my tattoos, the pieces are starting to make sense now. Relaxing beats to carve yourself up to. Nice. Also, Scuffed, thank you for sending this in. And our next no sleep. Currently, can a mod help me pin it? Thank you. Thank you. Damn, that was so fast. I made an appointment with a guy in Brooklyn for May. No curses, I hope. No curses, I hope. You know, they do this in New York, like in New York City, but I'm sure they do this in a lot of other places. It's just really common in the city, but because speaking of witches and tattoos, on every Friday the 13th, they do flash sales, which I guess like this is kind of what the story kind of reminds me of, because I had friends who asked if I wanted to do this before. But basically on Friday the 13th, a lot of tattoo artists and stuff will give you tattoos for like a set price or really cheap or whatever, but you have to pick from like the flash sheet. So obviously like not custom tattoos or anything. But they're usually like a lot smaller, and some places will do like $15 tattoos or whatever, which is like insane. But you have to pick, they're like pretty small, and you have to pick from like a book of usually like smaller tattoos and stuff. But imagine going to a tattoo artist on Friday the 13th, picking a random tattoo out of a flash book, and then being cursed. She could have been a witch. You could have been carving runes onto your body, curses, hexes, and you would not have known. Get a tattoo that says, I got this tattoo after subbing for Umi for 14 months. All I got was this tattoo. That's some Umi merch that I should make, yeah? I subbed to Umi and all I got was this t-shirt. Is this spoopy over? We're doing our last spoopy story, which I think is not quite long. Yeah. Our next story, the one that's pinned, Mason. Mason. Okay. It was a dark and stormy night. It's a dark and rainy day in February when I was hit by a small red pickup. February 15th. I was told I flew 15 feet before landing smack on my head. Apparently, the driver was drunk and didn't see me crossing. I don't remember that day at all. 4 weeks I slept in a coma that many feared I would never come out of. I was placed in a ward of children and teens with major bodily harm or disease. My roommate was a boy named Mason. I never did find out his last name. For the time in which I slept, he found out bits and pieces of me from my various visitors. My favorite color, what I liked, other random things. What? Oh, for my visitors? Hold on, let me drink some water actually. Get in, thank you for the posture check. Oh, the stretch and the hydrate. Whoa, good timing. More water. I do think this will be my last one though. But if you drop more suggestions, I would love to do this again if you guys enjoyed this. The purpose of this stream was I was hoping that this would be a nicer VOD to rewatch, you know? I love like streams where I get to chat with you guys, which is like all of my streams. And I kind of love that I still get to chat, but being able to like talk and read stories is really fun. But I know for those who want VODs or want to like listen to VODs again and stuff, I figured doing more things like this would be entertaining. I know I'm going to be gone for a month, so just trying to think of some things for you guys. But yeah, EP stream. I do want to do the Am I the Asshole and the You're the Asshole streams. I'm planning that for next week. So, creepypastas this week. I want to do some Am I the Assholes next week. It'll be a bit less cozy. I will probably be very loud and annoying and arguing over many things and appalled at how how truly asshole-ish some people can be. But I think that'll be fun. I'll miss you so much. I'll be around, guys. I'll try to keep you guys updated, but I'm also trying to make it a month of rest, which will be hard. I don't like resting, guys. Alright. Maybe polls too, so we can judge. Yes, yes, I want you guys to vote on whether or not you guys agree with me or not. I'm gonna see whether or not you guys majority think they're an asshole or not, and we'll tell you if I agree or not. Okay. Let me start over. Mason. Actually, I'll just, summarize. I got hit by a pickup truck February 15th. I've been in the hospital. My roommate was a boy named Mason. The time in which I slept, he found out bits and pieces of me from various visitors. My favorite color, what music I liked, and other random things. The day I woke up, I was showered with love and attention from my family, and it took me almost an hour to realize the presence of the boy laying in the bed beside me. He flashed me a lopsided grin, and went quietly back to the book he was reading. Eventually, I was left in peace, and after about 20 minutes of mental debate, I spoke up and asked him his name. His voice was smooth and low, and never failed to make me shudder. We spent the rest of the evening playing 20 questions and becoming familiar with each other. Eventually, my doctor would break our quality time and give me the lowdown on my injuries and what the healing process would be like. He told me that when I was hit, not only did I give myself a nasty concussion, but my legs were also broken in my oh-so-graceful landing. They said that I had a 60% chance of ever walking again. We became close instantaneously. The nurses would laugh and say we already looked like an old married couple, bundled up in bed, watching whatever soap opera happened to be on television. Mason would just flash me his trademark grin, while I blushed and buried my face in his chest. We both had good days and bad ones, Mason and I. On a particularly rough day of treatment for him, we both laid together, On a particular tough day of treatment for him, we both laid together, with him trembling in my arms. I'll never forget the feeling of his soft hiccups or the knot at the pit of my stomach. I finally got the courage to ask him, and asked him the $1,000,000 question. He had Hodgkin's disease. I don't think either of us slept that night. But what is Hodgkin's disease? Is it like a form of cancer? What is Hodgkin's disease? Lymphomia. It's a rare and highly curable cancer that affects lymphatic systems. Oh wait, just kidding. 9 in 10 people, 90% diagnosed as stage 1 survive for at least 5 years. Around 9 in 10 diagnosed stage 2 survive for at least 5 years. Around 8 in 10 people, around 80% survive at stage 3, survive for at least 5 years. And that's what Mason had. I don't think either of us slept that night. While my legs were transitioned from casts to braces, Mason's chemotherapy began. However, without fail, when I'd come back frustrated or in tears over a difficult session of therapy, he'd be there to comfort me with soothing words and reruns of I Love Lucy. Over the weeks, the chemo began to take its toll. His brown curls thinned to almost nothing. Dark circles took permanent residence under his eyes, and his skin turned pale as snow. As my legs grew stronger, the day I was released no longer seemed like something to look forward to. The day we decided to shave his head was the day I broke down. I told him I would do anything. Give bone, marrow, blood, anything to make him get better faster, but he just shot me a smile that instantly made me melt and wiped my tears away. 60%. Mason had a 60% chance of beating his demons. Same as me. On May 12th, I was officially released from room 104. I would walk with a limp most likely for the rest of my life. Every other day, I would visit Mason. Every time I would leave, we would take a picture together. Over the months, I could compare our first picture and our most recent one and see how much he was deteriorating. It was heartbreaking. August 17 was the first time I lost him. Overnight, high fever had broken out and his heart stopped for 4.5 minutes. Those are the worst minutes of my life. I sat outside his room in an uncomfortable plastic chair, watching the nurses I knew all too well, scrambling back and forth, attempting to save his fragile life. I didn't leave his side until he squeezed my hand, winked, and told me to go home and take a shower. After that, I vowed I would never let him leave me alone again. I guess the odds weren't in Mason's favor by the time Thanksgiving came around. He was almost a skeleton, but I didn't care. He confided in me that night, accepting the fact that his time was almost up and promising to wait for me on the other side. I begged him not to go, but he just lightly shook his head and rubbed soft circles onto my back. He wasn't gonna survive to see Christmas. That was 2 months ago. No longer being able to bear to see him hooked up to all sorts of machines, we decided to seal him away in the night together. I bundled him up and we drove away in my mother's car until we arrived at an old cabin my family would stay in during the holidays. Mason and I couldn't be any happier. I don't care that I'm on the news every night or that every cop in the country is looking for me. All I care about is being with Mason forever. Even if his flesh is crawling with maggots and beginning to peel off his bones, even if the smell of his rotting cadaver never fades from my skin, his lips are still warm at night, and he still often whispers sweet secrets into my ear before we sleep. No one, not the police, doctors, or anyone else, can ever separate us. I'm ready for them when they come. I made sure to bring the sharpest scalpel I could find when we left the hospital. But until then, I'll lay in Mason's arms, or at least what I think were once his strong appendages, and we'll talk all night until he takes me away. We'll be together forever. Damn, that was really sad and really crazy. Top comment, the crazy snuck in really quickly. Yeah, normal, kind of sad, kind of creepy, kind of stalkery, and then holy shit. Gotta love a good yandere, no sleep. I'll go away to end the night. Yeah. Well, thank you for being a part of this cozy stream tonight. I hope you guys were thoroughly creeped out in a good way. I'll see you guys tomorrow. No need to be too sad. But it's always nice to spend time with you guys. Thank you guys for the suggestions. The stories you guys picked were really, really good. Good taste in horror. I'm glad that I asked you guys for suggestions. I'm excited for that Am I the Asshole stream. That'll be next week. And yeah, come join the Discord. Come check out my socials. And I will send you guys somewhere else. What am I doing tomorrow? Hold on. Oh. I'm going to be singing Christmas songs for like 4 hours tomorrow. That's probably what I'm going to be doing. I still have a little bit of a sore throat, but I'm really, really, really hoping that by tomorrow it'll kind of be gone. But then maybe by tomorrow it'll come back after the 4 hours. Singing like stream, yes. I'll be doing a bit of a karaoke stream, and it'll be unarchived. Actually. Yeah, I guess it'll be unarchived. And then, Saturday is League of Legends. So, I'm excited. If you guys, for the League of Legends stream, by the way, guys, that's gonna be with you guys. So, if you guys would like to play League of Legends, make sure you come join us on Saturday. Because we'll be doing some Summoner's Rift. I don't really I don't really usually play Summoner's Rift, and I have not for like 3 years, so it will be kind of rough. I don't even know who I'm gonna play. I don't even But anyways, Pipsters will also be there, and that'll be fun. Alright, I will send you guys somewhere else. Where should I send you guys? Let me see. I want to send you guys to a just chatting stream, maybe. I don't know if you've updated your league client. Oh, okay. I will make sure to update it. But don't worry. It's usually quite updated because I'm always playing it. Oh, that's rough, man. Okay. Let me see. It's a good... Sorry. I always take so long when I'm looking for someone. I guess you guys are just stuck with me while I look for people. Just chatting streams. I like want to send you guys somewhere with the same vibe, you know? I don't really want to send you guys to somebody who's like screaming or something. Maybe I should just send you guys to like an ASMR stream. Oh my god! Oh my god. Really? Before the stream ends?
Esperenforce played for hashtag
oh
bitsbits.
my gosh. SMH. Alright. Oh, okay. How about here? Yapper, delusional, scuffed. Sounds pretty good to me. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, I already decided on a raid. Is Nemu streaming? I will raid Nemu another time. Thank you for the suggestion, Joe. I think I've raided her a couple times, but I figured it'd be nice to raid somebody new because I don't know this streamer at all. I always try to like raid like some different streamers, you know, like streamers that I've never seen before, because I feel like it helps me discover streamers as much as it helps other people discover them. But I do like to raid the same people as well. I've raided Nemu. Yeah, I know Nem. I've raided Nem a bunch of times too, so. Alright. Let us raid Toki. Copy the raid messages. I hope you guys had a good time. Please ignore the sirens. I will see you guys tomorrow for some Christmas music. And yeah, Atsumi, Atsu. Bye guys. I appreciate you guys a lot as well. Atsu.